Oh my God, I muted myself. All right. So, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome to the channel, The Muslim Apologist. I'm your host, MENJ. Yes, and today we will be responding to the Murtada who calls herself humanist, or her real name being Nuriyah Khan. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a British accent like she does, so you're going to have to bear with my very, very Malaysian accent, which has, its flaws. But hey, we are here to respond to this Murtada. So apparently, she came onto a podcast. Uh, she came onto an 80s podcast, which I happen to be subscribed to, because this podcast channel that I was subscribed to, he had some interesting guests. But unfortunately, with regards to in relation to Christianity, but unfortunately, when it comes to Islam, he had to invite this Murtada, right? So and when I heard the podcast, misconceptions and half truths and lies from the beginning right to the end. Right. So I'm taking it upon myself to respond, okay, to this pitch. Okay. So I think it's imperative that I, as the Muslim apologist, respond to this bitch. Okay. So let me see now. Oh, there's brother Siko is here. Walaikum salam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brother. She was destroyed by Daniel, wasn't she? Well, I would say I'm not sure whether you could call it destroyed, because she didn't seem to get it right. So she's still hopping onto other people's channels and podcasts, and she doesn't seem to know. She doesn't see, and she's repeating this that she said in her debate against Daniel, and I think there were some things which she did not mention in that debate as well. So but in any case, it doesn't matter, because we are going to deal with a new pack of lies from this bitch. So okay, so I'm going to have to share the screen now for this video. Let me see now. How do I share my tab? All right, this is the one. Even the title is misleading. All right, leaving Islam and fighting for human rights. What kind of human rights is she fighting for? Okay, okay. The right to apostate is not a human right. Okay, let's get one thing clear. The right to apostatize, to leave Islam, is not a human right. Okay, it's a human right. Okay, it's a rebellion. It's a budgah against God and His apostle. Okay, so right from the get go, all right, you are a rebel. Okay, you are a terrorist against God and His apostle by declaring yourself to have, you have become a terrorist, a rebel in the sight of Islamic law. That is why we have um, the law, the Sharia, which clearly says man badala dinahu faktuluh, and this is a Sahih Hadith. Okay, so there's no dispute in this, right? So in any case, see now. I'm going to hide the chat, because the people that responded to her pack of lies were very obnoxious. Okay, they don't, and ignorant as well, because they don't understand anything about Islam anyway in the first place. So I'm going to start playing I skip some parts, by the way, for in this video, because there are some where she went off tangent, okay, somewhat, and she was talking about some other things which I don't get. Okay, so let me see if I adjust myself. Let me try and adjust myself. No, I do shadow the video, and nope. Yeah, I guess I'll put myself as an inset. All right, and it is okay. Let me. Yes.
Welcome to Deep Drinks
Yeah.
Podcast, where the drinks
I'm
are
going to
deep
skip
and the
that part,
conversation.
right? So I'm going to go straight to the. So there's the intro where this guy, I think his name is David. He talks about something, I think he was introducing his channel or something like that, for a future podcast, which I don't think I want to get into. So let's just jump to Khan herself. Okay, let me see now. Let me play this.
Nuriyah Khan. Holy
Thank you so much, David. It's a pleasure to be here. And no, I definitely did not shout at him to do this at 3 a.m. I was actually so worried. I'm like, it's a very ungodly hour to be up. But as you said, it's 5 p.m. somewhere, right, David?
Yeah, exactly.
5 o'clock
yeah,
somewhere.
exactly. You can't. It's fine to day drink in Australia too. So that
I'm not sure why they're talking about the time. Oh, so he's in Australia. Okay, that makes sense. I thought he was because I can't see. I have this one serious flaw. I can't seem to make the distinction between a British accent and an Australian accent. Right. So when I first heard David, I thought he was British. Okay. So why were they talking about time zones when I thought that David would be in the same country as she was, but as he thought, okay, he's an Australian. Okay, that makes sense then. Okay, so let me skip that part and then let's continue.
Camembert
Yeah.
and Grand Prix.
Oh
Like
my God, David.
legitimately, like I was really bad.
Oh no.
Cool. So,
Grand
but we're not here
Prix.
to talk about me and my really bad speaking skills, but we're here to talk about you. And so you're an ex-Muslim. So that's an interesting. That's clickbait right there.
Clickbait,
So
all
can you
right.
tell us a little bit about like growing up Islamic and like
Yeah, sure.
journey?
Yeah, so I basically grew up in England, and it was kind of like the usual,
I guess that's obvious from your accent anyway.
like immigrant Pakistani extended family setting.
That's also obvious from your features, bitch. Okay, so yes, let's continue.
So naturally, I was living with my as well, and they're obviously a lot more on the conservative and religious side. And then my parents were kind of born and brought up here, so they were like first generation.
Yes, brother and I. Okay, that's the reason why I commented the way I did. Okay, let's continue. All right.
Like having the full-on British experience. So Islam was always like a massive piece of our identity growing up. And as I was the firstborn and my grandfather was like the imam of the local mosque.
You see how these apostates, they always try to find justification from their family. So your grandfather was an imam, and therefore that qualifies you to talk about Islam. Okay. Do you get the attempt to give to get herself to as though as she's an authority in Islam? Okay, so my great was the imam of Mecca, of the mosque, the haram mosque at Mecca. Does that mean theoretically speaking, does that mean that I have the right to be speaking about Islam 10 generations later? Okay, do you see the way that apostates try to justify their so-called knowledge, which by the way I believe is absent. I you know what I think? I believe that she came from a secular family who probably did not practice Islam as much as they should, and that is why she had to mention her grandfather, because she couldn't say that her parents were religious. Okay, I'm pretty sure that she probably, I mean brother Siko, probably you would probably know better than I would, because I'm not from the UK. I'm not sure how the UK Muslims, those from the South Asian community especially, would behave in the UK. All right. So the brother said a lot of the Desi imams back then in UK were just those who could recite the Quran and help fund build the mosque. All right. Okay. That's okay. Maybe that's what she was talking about. I mean, just because the grandfather gave some money to the mosque, that it means that he's an authority in Islam, and therefore she, as the grandchild of the Kion of that family, therefore she has some Islam, or she has some authority in Islamic affairs. Sorry, man, but that's not how it works. Okay, knowledge is not passed down from generation to generation. I mean, you can have someone who's very pious in the early generations, and then several generations later, the descendants become worse. Okay, so there's this Malaysian nasheed. okay, which is very popular, by the way. Okay, adalah mutiara, and then it goes on to say it goes on to say iman tidak iman tidak diwarisi oleh seorang ayah yang bertakwa. The meaning of this is that of faith, iman, okay, is something very precious, like like pearls, okay, and iman cannot be inherited from a father who is pious. So I think I mean, this is just an educated guess, but I think this is what has happened uh, to this bitch, right? So she just happens to come from a family whose grandfather was, maybe the grandfather was pious. Okay, I wouldn't want to presume otherwise, but several generations later we got her, right? And parents are religious, because if her parents were religious, she wouldn't have turned up this way. Okay, I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have been so open about her identity and so on. Okay, pretty sure the parents were not religious, because especially in my country, especially, we have someone who claims to be a murtada and running around on YouTube, besmirching Islam and making a lot of nasty claims about Islam, blah blah blah. I think the family would disown her. Okay, would totally disown her, right? So the fact that she's here right now, she's openly you know identifying herself openly as an ex-Muslim. I doubt she was ever a Muslim. Openly identifying herself as a murtada, and going around making false allegations, by the way, about Islam, just goes to show that her parents were not religious at all, or she did not come from. Okay, at least that's what I suspect. Okay, and the fact that she had to mention her grandfather. Why did she have other thing? Why did she have to mention the grandfather? Why can't she mention, oh, my parents were religious? Why can't she mention that? Why did she need to mention her grandfather was religious and had and was the imam of a mosque? So I don't know what would, I suspicious of a story, actually. Okay, amends before I move on. Okay, a lot of Pakistani and South Asians had a lot of Hindu, Indian, and beliefs in the practices. Well, it's the same thing here, actually, in Malaysia. But fortunately, over the years, we have become more religious, alhamdulillah. And some of these practices are now non-existent in our culture today. But if you were saying, you were describing our culture like 20, 30 years ago, then yes, we did have a lot of Indian and Hindu culture among the Malays, okay, among Malaysian Muslims as well, right? Okay, so I think this is not alien to this region, because you see, in our came to this region from Indian traders too, not just from the Arab traders and from the Chinese Muslim traders. Okay, so there are three theories regarding the spread of Islam in this region, in the Nusantara region, or in the Southeast Asian region. When I say Southeast Asian, I mean Indonesia, Malaysia, Brunei, Singapore, and the Philippines. Okay, so this region received Islam through traders. Okay, there was no army, there was no Muslim army that came here and conquered us. My ancestors accepted Islam openly without any force. Okay, my ancestors must have been, by the way, Hindu Buddhists. By the way, we were Hindus. Okay, we were Hindus, but not in the same way as how Hinduism is practiced today in India. By the way, it's a different form of Hinduism. Okay, so the theory goes, there's three theories. The first theory is that Islam came to the region through Indian traders. The second theory is that it came through Yemeni traders or else. And the third theory is that Islam came to the region through Chinese Muslim traders. But personally, I think all three must have been true, because back then, okay, there is this spot called Pasai. Okay, today it is in Aceh. All right, Pasai today, okay, in Indonesia. Okay, so Pasai was the first city to accept Islam openly from the traders, and then it's the islands that we now know as Indonesia, and then it came to the peninsula, and then it spread out to the Borneo Island, and to we now know as Brunei, Sabah, Sarawak, Kalimantan, and then it spread to the Philippines. By the way, the Philippines, the whole of the Philippines used to be Muslim. Okay, used to be ruled by Islam until the Spanish colonialists came and conquered the northern part of the Philippines, what we now know as the Philippines today, and forcibly converted the population to Christianity. Yeah, so only the Muslims in the southern part of the what we now know as Philippines resisted this. So that's why until today you see that the northern part of the Philippines League and the southern part of the Philippines are Muslim. Okay, that's the reason. But there was one point in history, centuries ago, where the whole of the Philippines was Muslim. Okay, so yeah. Let me see now. Oh, brother Sinif is here. Masya Allah. Waalaikum salam warahmatullah. Brother, I was expecting you to come along actually. Okay, right. Okay, Masya Allah. All right. Okay, brothers, I'm going to have to continue the stream. Let's continue with the reaction.
We took such an interest in Islam anyway, from the second you're born into Islam anyway, like as a newborn baby, the very first thing is that they whisper the call to prayer in your ear. So basically it's an expression in Islam where your entire life is between that call to prayer and your prayer being read. So that's your entire life.
I don't know why to share this because this is not something strange. Or she's talking about the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam when a newborn baby, come. When the mother gives birth to the baby, and then usually the father would pick up the baby, whether it's a girl or a boy, and we will do the Adan in the right ear, softly, of course, and the iqamat in the left ear, right? So that was what I did to my son anyway when he was first born. Okay, so I mean every single Muslim parent. So I don't know why she making a fuss out of it. Why is this unique? It's not unique. It's something that has been practiced century, Nuriyah. Why are you trying to impress your host? Okay, I know your host is ignorant, but you didn't really need to show off, to show yourself off as though as you are some sort of expert in Islam, because you're not. Okay, you're just saying things which we Muslims have been practicing for centuries. It's not something alien. Okay, and you have to make it as though it's something mystical. Oh, you whisper in the ear as though it's a sign, therefore that we want to show that Islam starts from the birth and until the funeral. No, there's no such nonsense. Okay, we do it because the Prophet's Sunnah. Okay, because the Prophet did it to his grandsons. Okay, Hassan and Hussein, radiyallahu anhum. So that's the only reason why. There's no real significance to it apart from it being the Sunnah of the Wasallam. Okay, so we do what the Prophet did. Okay, so there's no special mysterious significance will make your host go, wow, oh wow, oh gee, wow, it's so strange that Muslims do the Adan in the ear of a newborn, and then it's so mystical, it's so exotic. Nah, it's none of those things, man. Okay. I have to make it out as though it's something special, because it's not. Okay, right. So anyway, let's continue.
Life is between that. Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't know what's crazy. It's just the Sunnah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
So obviously you're taught that Islam is like the only way and the right way. So after school, it was just like completely assumed that every day I'd go to mosque and attend Quran classes, and that's where I had my first like real encounter with Islam, and we were reading the Quran in Arabic. That was actually
of course you are reading the Quran in Arabic. Quran was reviewed in Arabic. why are you why are you stating the obvious, Captain Obvious?
quite good of them, because that was the only time in my life, where as we were reading it in Arabic, given us a small green book with English translations. But again, it was like in proper like Shakespearean English. You know what I mean? So it was very like I tried to decipher it even then. I was 9 years old by the time I was like heavily going to these Quran classes at the mosque. And then
There's
again,
nothing special with Quran classes because every single Muslim child to Islamic classes. You know, in my country, especially, I mean, back in the day when I was learning the Quran in Islam, I had the ustaz coming to the house. Okay, so that's pretty much common among Muslim families in Malaysia, especially. Okay, these days we send our children to Islamic schools. Okay, so we actually have dedicated Islamic schools. Right? So I'm not sure about what the system in the UK is like, but yeah, we don't send our children to mosques to learn the Islam, but we send them to dedicated Islamic schools. All right. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue.
and like because my Quran teacher and all the girls and the women that would come there were all covered and they wore hijab, I realized that this is a massive tenet of Islam for women. So I decided like, oh, I also want to go to heaven, and like I definitely want to abide by Allah's, commands. So I decided to put it on, even though nobody in my actual household wore hijab.
Do you hear that? Nobody in my household wore hijab. So I think this is an indication that she came from a secular background. Okay. And she was just a nominal Muslim who was sent to the mosque to, learn Quran and just go through the motions, so to speak. So there are some indications here to me, at least, that she did not come from a religious family. She came from a secular background. Okay. I mean, I could be wrong, but this is how, okay.
Again, as a child, really weirded me out because I know a lot of people, and we can talk about what's happening recently as well, developments with the hijab, but people's story is that, they're pressured to put it on. I was weirded out because I was pressured, like when I was like trying to put it on and say, this is a choice that I've actually made for myself. If Allah wants it, want to go to heaven, therefore I want
yada, whatever. Okay.
To be a woman and do what I'm supposed to do. I'm of that age now. 9 is a very special age in Islam for a Muslim woman.
9 is a special age for a Muslim woman. No, it's not. Where do you get that idea? the only age that is special for a man is when they reach puberty. Okay, in Islam. Okay. All right. So it's only when you reach the age of puberty. I mean, when you show signs of puberty, and it's not limited to 9. It could be 12. It could be 14. It could even be 20. Okay, it depends. But of course, the usual age around 10 or 11, right? So, but it's not a special. There's no age in Islam. Okay. I mean, that just goes to show your Nuriyah. Okay. We only consider someone to be special once they reach puberty. Okay. I think maybe that's what you meant, but that's you describe it is quite dumb to me. All right. So anyway, let's continue.
So yeah, they were like, are you sure? But are you sure? And then later on, as I progressed, I was really into sports and I started playing football and it just became a nightmare. But they were actually so happy when I took it
Oh, that's interesting. She plays football.
off. And obviously there's underlying cultural nuances within that. Like my grandma me to have more marriage options. So she didn't want me to limit myself to somebody very conservative.
More marriage options. Okay, never mind. I think this is an South Asian thing. Okay, we don't have that culture in my community, in my society, so I wouldn't comment on that much. Okay, maybe the brothers in the chat can, those of South Asia persuasion could, explain that perhaps. But from where I'm concerned, that particular culture does not exist in Malaysia, especially. Okay.
So it's not really it wasn't really driven for like, this is not like a free and fair choice she's made by herself. This is, it's a tool of oppression. It was more like, oh, is she going to get enough suitors?
Yeah, that's amazing. I remember having a similar experience where I asked my mum in my teenage years. My family's so open. We talk about sex and everything, like it's totally okay.
Oh, wow.
And
speed it up.
And I said,
right?
I said, Mum, I was religious. Is it a sin for marriage? And she says, she goes, well, yeah, kind of, but yeah, it is. But like you can do other stuff. Like you don't just have to have sex. And I was like,
yeah, he's talking about sex premarital sex. I suppose Christians are such whims that these days they don't follow their own Bible, so I'll just leave it at that, and let's just skip that part, and let's move it a bit in the front. Let's see if I can skip that part. It talks about premarital sex.
The Quran in English. Again, in my house, it was some we had the Mohsin Khan translation with it, which I think he is from Pakistan, and that's quite a famous translation. But again, a lot of it I was still a teenager at the time. A lot of it was going over my head. What I found is when I actually went to Quran.com, which is literally at our fingertip, if you go to that, and then I think it's James Pickett Hall translations are usually quite blunt and as organic as they can be, because even on Quran.com and Sunnah.com, which is the home for like the main hadiths, the
Yeah, you know that so Quran.com is just online resources. They are not main. Okay, I mean that just goes to show her ignorance, right? She doesn't even know that. I don't even need Quran.com and Sunnah.com to refer to the hadith, because I have this. Okay, I mean who are you kidding, bitch? I have this. Okay, I have books like this on my shelves. Okay, so I have to admit that Quran.com and Sunnah.com are useful resources, but for her it's not even necessary. Okay, because we have the books for it, right? So I don't know why you make it as some you make it out as something so exotic. Okay, you're ignorant here, because he obviously thinking about Islam, and clearly you are trying to trying to impress him so much. You're trying so badly to try to impress him so much that you have to spew these little tidbits that just make you look stupid in the end, at least to a Muslim like me. All right. So yeah, so I'm going to continue playing this again.
The hadiths that have all passed like whatever criteria they have to be graded, and the Sunnis technically should believe in them. What we're seeing now is, as time's progressing,
Yeah, you do know, however, that just because there are certain hadiths at sunnah.com which says it doesn't mean that those hadiths are sahih, right? Because you need to actually go into because it's only sahih according to the publisher, right? I think it's yeah, that's the thing with sunnah.com. It takes its from Darussalam, and there are some hadiths which are graded sahih by Darussalam, but read Al-Albani and you refer to the scholars of hadith, they say that this hadith is weak or or effective, etc. So that is why you should take sunnah.com with a grain of salt, at least for certain hadiths. Okay, because it's not graded properly, and it's not the fault of the publisher, by the way. So publisher is just grading it according to their own standard. Okay, so she doesn't know this, right? So let's continue.
Video that we've made a year ago, now the hadiths have like these new brackets and trying to be like watered down, and they're trying to make it a bit more palatable because there's some in there, obviously. But
very damning things. Nah, I don't see anything here except for your own ignorance about Islam, okay, which we shall see shortly. All right.
Really say go to Quran.com, and if you are reading it, flick through a few translations just of the verses, because some of them have completely taken the leniency path and changed things from like do not take Jews and Christians as friends and greet them, and completely changed it to like
see right from the start you have already twisted the hadith. Do not take Jews and Christians as friends. Okay, I know that verse has been played on and on by Islamophobes since forever. Okay, the correct translation would be, do not take the Jews and Christians as your awliya, The Arabic is awliya, and in this context it means protectors, okay, or political allies, not friends. Okay, I know there are some translations which put friend as the translation, as the English translation for the Arabic awliya. Okay, unfortunately that's not okay, because in this context it would be more justified to translate awliya as political allies or as protectors. Okay, and in fact the later translations of Yusuf Ali translated it as protectors, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. Let me see. Do not take the Jews, Christians as. Oh, okay, it's in Surah I think it's Surah Al Ma'idah. Let me check. Yeah, it's in Surah Al-Ma'idah. I haven't Surah Al-Ma'idah number verse number 51. Okay, 51. Yeah, okay. The Yusuf Ali translated it as friends and protectors. So okay, this is my translation of the Quran. Okay, the English translation of the Quran by Yusuf Ali. So the full translation is, "Oh yeah, who believe, take not the Jews and Christians for your friends and protectors." Okay, and there's a footnote which I will read it shortly. Okay, they are but friends and protectors, not the translation. It says friends and protectors. Okay, to each other. And he among you that turns to them for friendship is one of them. Verily, God guideth not a people unjust. Okay, and there's a footnote for this. Okay, for friends and protectors, and the footnote says, okay, that is not look not to them for help and comfort. They are more than likely to combine against you than to help you. And this happened more than once in the lifetime of the prophet and in after ages again and again. He who associates with them as their counsels must be counted as of them. The trimmer loses whichever way the wheels of fortune turns. So there you go. This is the footnote, the explanatory footnote which Yusuf Ali gives, as well as the translation, which clearly says it doesn't say friends, it says friends and protectors. I would prefer to use political ally translation of the word awliya. So there, your ignorance has been proven again, Nuriyah. Okay. So oops, sorry, wrong pair of glasses. All right. So okay, so I'm going to continue playing this up. So this Islamophobes, they like Nuriyah Khan here. Okay, this bitch. She likes to twist. They will always like to twist verses and misinterpret the Quran and use faulty translations when they themselves do not even know a single word of Arabic. Okay, I mean I'm pretty sure she doesn't know Arabic at all. Okay, so anyway, let's continue.
Do not take them as sponsors. And it's like a sponsor, like no,
Yeah.
just so be careful with that. But I would say cross-check a few. But Quran.com honestly is verified, and it helped me get out. I took it at face value. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's great. The translation that I read, and I read this, I listened to the audio version, because I tried to read like a version I picked up in like a plane, airport bookstore, and it was horrible to read. But I got this by the King Fuad Professor of Islamic Studies in the School of African Studies at the
Oh,
University
that's
of
my
London.
university. That's where I went.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Abdel Halim.
Mm.
He wrote this one, and it's it was actually
Abdul Halim. Yeah, I have this translation too. I don't really use it. Honestly speaking, I prefer to use this. I prefer to use Yusuf Ali. I know that the language may be a bit archaic, but it's still quite accurate in my opinion. It's still better than the modern day translations. Okay, I don't know any translations because the way that they translate kinds of takes away the exotic feel of the Quran. Okay, so I find myself falling back to Yusuf Ali each time because like in the middle between very archaic like Pictol and too modern like Abdul Halim, and who's the latest person who have translated? I don't remember his name. I think his name is I don't remember his name. The Clear Quran. The person who translated the Clear Quran. Yeah, that's too modern for me. Okay, I always find myself resorting to Yusuf Ali in the end. Okay, maybe there will be those who disagree with me, but that's probably just me. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to continue this.
It's a really beautiful book, and it's actually really beautifully written in some spots. Some parts made me want to.
Don't fall for it, David. Don't fall for it.
Don't trust me. I'm not falling for Islam.
Don't trust me, or trust me, I don't fall for Islam. Why do you have to listen to this bitch, man? Make up your own mind, man.
Okay,
Oh,
we're
no,
speaking tonight.
absolutely not. But I have like a deep. Oh my, that's funny. I have a deep respect for religion, but only because I don't think it's true. I think that
Right.
religion is beautiful as long as you don't think it's true. It's like when you see a top.
You think religion is beautiful, but you don't think it's okay. Fine, whatever. Okay, I'm going to skip this. Yeah, and there's some things that she said about Sunni and Shia, and I think I have to clarify that as well. Let's continue.
like when I speak to that crowd of people, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even know which one I was. But apparently a lot of people don't. So I was from like the most mainstream Sunni version of Islam.
Wait, let me
Yeah.
that a bit.
So to your story, what branch of Islam were you in? I know there's like Shia, the main two.
Sunni.
No, Sunni, man.
So even if you were to ask like Pakistanis, within Sunni Islam, there's like different sects in Pakistan, especially like they're called Deobandis, Barelvis, a bunch of other ones.
Yeah, Deobandis, Barelvis, etc. Those are all sectarian groups, okay, within the Sunni four, okay. So and also Sufi, okay. Barelvi, especially they are Sufis, okay. So but they still consider themselves to be Sunni, sorry, okay. But they are not a different sect, okay. They are just different, I don't know, groups, I guess. I don't even call them a sect because they claim to be part of the Ahlus Sunnah, but yeah, some of the practices may not be Sunnah friendly, but that's just I prefer not to go into these debates. But yeah, just you might as well just come clean and just say that you are Sunni. That's it. You don't have to go into such detail in order to impress your host, man. Okay.
And I always like when I speak to that crowd of people, I'm like, oh my god, I didn't even know which one I was. But
yeah, you're just a secular Muslim who grew up in a nominal Muslim household, okay, and you just follow the crowd. That's it. That's the type of Muslim you were, okay. Assuming if you had even practiced Islam at all, I doubt that you could even read Surah Fatiha properly, okay. But anyway, that's just me, and see whatever I'm going to. Yeah, you will find that I will be skipping some parts because I just want to, move on and go to the nitty gritty of the video. Okay.
Catholic of Islam, like which sect would?
The majority, the main one.
Yeah,
Definitely.
The one that everyone's like, yeah, okay, they're not like extreme. They're kind of like that's
the one that has the most numbers anyway. There are more Sunni Muslims, than any others. Because even there's only certain countries.
Because that's why we are called Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because we are the Orthodox Muslims. Okay. What's so special about it? I don't get it.
That have majority Shia populations. I think Iraq, Bahrain, Lebanon, maybe that's about it. Like in Saudi Arabia.
Never mind. If you want to talk about the Shia, I don't want to talk about that. Right. So okay, this is interesting. Divorce in Islam
is profound. Like I can imagine that would happen in like North Korea or something, but I didn't realize like Dubai it would be like this, you know.
Oh yeah, you and me both. So just for your viewers, basically I was living in the UAE and I got married when I was quite young, and then like very quickly the marriage fell apart. There was like a lot of abuse there, which first of all I had no idea.
I could see why. I don't know what men would want to marry you in the first place.
About abuse, or like how it manifests and what kinds of abuse there are. So that was a huge learning curve when I finally like realized, oh my goodness, this is what's happening to me. This is why I'm like turning into a shell of my former self. This is why I'm having to watch TED Talks. But basically, I was married Islamically. So and obviously
Islamically, were you expecting to be married as secularly? Please stop being Captain Obvious, man. Obviously, you're going to be married Islamically, or you were a Muslim, or whatever it is that you claim to be. Right? So of course, you're going to be following that particular methodology, right, of your culture, of your religion, right? I mean, so let's say if I were a Hindu, I was married Hinduically. What the hell? I mean, stop trying to be Captain Obvious, man. I mean, to be married Islamically.
If you haven't added that clause into your marriage contract in Islam, that you are able to have the right to divorce through courts, by default, women are not given the right to divorce in Islam.
Okay, this is a big lie. Okay, she just made a lie against Islam. She said that women do not have the right to divorce. Of course, ironically, several seconds later, she admitted that that women were, Muslim women had the right to to divorce through khulu, right? But that's just one of the ways, man. There's another method called fasakh, okay, which she doesn't seem to know, or she's ignorant of. So fasakh is the method where a Muslim woman can go to the courts and appeal to the judge, to the that she wants from the husband, and then the Qadi would call the husband to the court, and then first of all they will try to mediate the couple. But if that does, mediate the issue, try to mediate and try to reconcile the couple. But of course, if that doesn't work, then the fasakh. Okay, so there are two methods of actually in Islam for the Muslim women. The first method is the fasakh, which is quite common, and the second is khulu. Okay, khulu is I don't know what khulu, the khulu process involves, because in Malaysia especially we rely a lot on fasakh. Okay, the Muslim woman will go to the courts and would demand divorce. Okay, that's fasakh. Okay, so khulu is another method. I think that involves the family members or something. I'm sorry, I don't remember behind it, but yeah. So there are two methods. Okay, it's not one, as she will mention this several seconds later. Listen to this.
So in wanting to pursue a divorce, obviously if the other party does not want to let you go or they don't want to grant you the divorce, technically there's certain Muslim countries have progressed and they've got this thing called a khula, which happens in Tunisia.
It's not khula, it's khulu. Okay, pronounce it wrong. Okay, it's called khulu. Secondly, it's not progressive in a sense that it's new. No, it's not. It's not new. It's something as old as Islam itself. Okay, it has been there for centuries, bitch. Okay, it has been there for as long as Islam has existed. Okay, so like I said, there's two types of divorce for a Muslim woman to pursue. Two of divorce that a Muslim woman can pursue. The first is fasakh, the most common one. The second, khulu. Okay, like I said, I'm not a fiqh scholar, so I'm not going to go into googling the details about khulu. But fasakh, I can tell. Fasakh is quite straightforward. The wife just needs to go to the courts and meet the judge and tell him that usually it's a him, that she wants a divorce from her husband, and of course there's a process behind it. But yes, a Muslim woman can and have asked for divorce from the Muslim court, have the right to divorce. Okay, so please don't bitch. Okay, you are such a whore, man, in lying. You're a whoring liar. Okay, by claiming women do not have the right to divorce, and that only in recent times do we have the process called khulu. Not khula, by the way. I don't know what the hell is khula, but I know it's called khulu. Okay, so there are two methods of divorce. The first, fasakh, for the Muslim woman, there's two methods. The first is fasakh, the second is khulu, and of course the talaq. Okay, so she's going to say something funny about the talaq later in this video, but I just wanted to make it clear that she's lying. Okay, and she's a bitch. All right, she's a fucking little bitch here, an ignorant fucking little bitch. All right, who's whoring away, okay, through lying about Islam in order to get more money for herself. Okay, so yeah, so that's my opinion of her at this juncture. Okay, so anyway, but the Sydney Football has some comments here. Let me see now. This is the feminist, right? Yeah, she claims to be a feminist, but I don't know, man. I mean, she's just showing her ignorance. If I were a feminist, I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want her to represent me. Okay, right? So she's so ignorant. Is she originally? No, she's Pakistani. Okay, she's a Desi woman. Okay. Um, if she's originally Iranian, it's no wonder she apostate. Yeah, I know that apostasy is actually common among Iranians, but nah, she's not. She's not. She's not. I think. Yeah, I mean, she is definitely not an Iranian. She got influenced by feminism and apostated. Low IQ. I think it's because it could be because of her abusive husband. According to her, she was abused by her husband while she was in the UK, and when she was looking for a way to get divorced, she couldn't do that, and therefore that made her disillusioned about Islam, which you will hear shortly. But I think of it, I don't know whether this story is even true, because she lied through her teeth about Muslim women not being given the right to divorce their husbands, because that's BS, man. That's total BS. Okay, women in Islam do and have divorced their husbands, okay, in the past, okay, and even until today. All right, so please don't BS here, man. Please don't share your BS here, because we know better than you. All right, protect your loved ones from feminism at all costs. Yep, definitely, and I hope they don't turn out like her, man. I hope that Muslims don't turn out like her, because she's just giving a bad name, not just to Islam, but also to her community. Okay, I mean, she's giving a bad name to South Asians as well, right? Because she's just lying through her teeth. Okay, especially when it comes to Islam. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
Which you can get in Pakistan, and that effectively gives the woman the right to go through the courts and say, I want a divorce, and usually it is granted.
Yeah, that's
but
fasakh.
again, if somebody is even more like bitter and conniving, which is what my ex-partner did, he basically employed a lawyer, and they picked up some ancient archaic Sharia law, which all comes back to the obedience of a pious woman as wife. So this law states that any woman who you fear
Sorry, I'm going to read a comment here. Did she say that because she wanted divorce? Yep, she did. She did. If you play the video later, you will find that she actually said this. Yeah.
disobedience from, or if you fear that she's going to leave the home or whatever, there is, it's called Taha Zawjiyah in Arabic, and it's still talked about more in Egyptian circles, and they've done
I don't know what is Tausa Al-Jiyah. I have no idea what that is. Okay. I have no idea what she just said. Maybe an Egyptian brother or sister in the chat can enlighten us what the hell was she referring to, because I have no idea what that is.
an entire like fatwas and discussions and stuff on it. But when this police officer in the UAE called me up and said, we've got this order for Taha Zawjiyah on you, and I was like, sorry, I have no idea what you're on
I
about
don't
me.
know
Like,
what
can
the
you
hell
explain
is
what
that. Okay, as far as I know, in Malaysia, the process for divorce, the Muslim woman is quite simple. You just go to the courts, and then you can ask for fasakh. Okay, and then the court can actually order the husband to not approach the wife until divorce is settled or a resolution is reached. Okay, so you can't force the woman to come back to the husband if the woman doesn't want to. Okay, and if she's she's moving in with her family again, and she wants to see an end to their marriage. Okay, so there's no tausa zarra braba jajaya, whatever it is that she said. Okay, especially not in my part of the world. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Maybe someone can tell me she's referring to. Okay, I have no idea what she was referring to here. Okay, because as far as I'm concerned, the process for divorce in Malaysia is quite straightforward. Okay, and it has been going on for centuries. Okay, it's not something new. It's not something modern or progressive. It's something that has been happening for centuries, Nuriyah. Okay, so anyway, let's continue.
what that means to me. And then he basically said, like, we would, you need to go back to your husband's house and return there, and
No,
you
you
cannot leave
don't.
without his permission. If
No,
you
you
don't go
don't.
back by this time and date, we will arrest you and forcibly take you back.
I
So
don't know
with
what
like
I don't know what the
yeah.
hell she's
So
BSing about.
you broke up with your well, you left your husband because he was abusive, right? And so you're trying to like stay away from your abuser, essentially.
Exactly.
And the police told you had to go back to your husband.
Yeah, and the police who basically
Yeah,
like,
I think the police is as stupid as you are if they really did that. Okay, because there's no such thing. Okay, in Islamic law, especially, I don't know what country, but that the divorce happened in, but that country must be not Islamic at all. Okay, so no, in Malaysia is quite different. Okay, I'm not sure about the Middle East. I'm not sure about South Asia, about Pakistan or Afghanistan especially. But in Malaysia, I can only speak for Malaysia, of course. But in Malaysia, if the wife wants a divorce, she can actually move in back with her family again, and the police or authorities have no right to order her to return to her family until the issue is resolved. Actually, okay. Of course, if the issue has been resolved, obviously the courts will order her to return to the husband, etc. But that is only after resolution has been reached, not before or during. Okay, so and if she refuses to reconcile and she wants the divorce, then the courts will definitely if she has a valid reason for it, obviously the courts will approve the divorce. Okay, and then the divorce goes on. Okay, so yes, the Muslim woman died to divorce. So where is this BS story coming from, man? Okay, she's just lying through her teeth. Okay, she's a liar. Only a whore. Okay, she's also a liar. Okay, so yeah, let's continue.
for the longest time, I had been going to the station and reporting because I had moved, bear in mind, I'd moved back into the house with my parents. I'd got a new job. I'd essentially like moved on with my life and I'd filed for the divorce to be initiated. But then I obviously like found out that he had been following me from work and back and showing up at my workplace or events that I was at after work, and my friends had spotted him or whatever. So I had gone to the police many a time and said like I'm being stalked and harassed and somebody's constantly watching my window, and they didn't take any of that seriously at all, like to the point where I went respectful Muslim women, like I went in a abaya, you know, and they actually are even more like toxic and misogynistic. They would just keep me there in a room with them for like hours and just have like baseless discussions, and then their colleague would come and sit with me and talk for hours, and I was just,
Yeah,
and it was
I'm
such
not
a
going to listen
demeaning
to this BS because she had already lied about the rights of a Muslim woman to divorce. I'm just going to move on to the next part. I think I'm not going to listen to a BS story about her being abused, whatever. For all we know, it might not be a husband who was. It might be the other way around. Okay, so who's to say that it wasn't her? it wasn't her that was the abusive one. Okay, so let me see if I did this.
There's like a jinn inside me. A jinn is like an Islamic demon.
Oops. Okay,
and like
let
she
me
needs
get this behind. Okay, Islam demon, huh? All right, let's see.
to crumble before your eyes. And then I realized, like, trying to approach his own family to say, hey, this is what I'm noticing and this is what I'm seeing. Are you guys aware of this? But when I realized the reaction from them when I told them was not like, oh my God, like what's going on with our son or our brother? It was more like a reaction of, oh shit, she's clocked, or like she knows.
Oh no.
That's when I was like, I am up against I don't know what here. And you know, like, yeah. So it was, and so that drives a lot of things. Like, trust me, Islam was still a Muslim through all of this, but the things they were doing, because I had to go to like Islamic marriage counseling before you can get a divorce, and he would say things like she's possessed with like there's like a jinn inside me. A jinn is like an Islamic demon, and like
no, a jinn is not it's not an Islamic demon. A jinn is a creature, an unseen creature which is of God, and they basically they are just an unseen version of humans. Okay, so they are evil jinn and they are good jinn. So just unseen creatures basically. Okay, made out of fire, by the way, in Islamic tradition. Okay, so they're not demons. Okay, they're not. They don't try to associate jinn with how you understand them in with Judeo-Christian terms. Okay, so Western terms. Okay, so they are not demons. Okay, a demon in Western psyche is something evil, so evil that is a creature of the night, is a creature of the dark. But jinn in Islam are just unseen creatures which have a choice of either doing good or doing evil. Okay, so that's pretty much it. Okay, so I think she's trying to exaggerate again. So she's trying to, you know what I think, she's just trying to exaggerate and to impress her non-Muslim hosts. Okay, and she's trying to get herself legit to to talk about Islam, even though right from the beginning, from the get go, she had already admitted that her grandfather was the imam of the mosque. Why didn't she mention that her parents were the pious ones? Okay, the answer is simple, because she knows that she came from from a nominal Muslim family who probably just practice Islam as is, but you know, very nominally, and probably not as deep as how a religious family would be like. Okay, so you could see some of the exaggerations that she made, right? So anyway, I'm going to continue playing this. Let me see.
like she needs exorcisms because she wants a divorce, she's not thinking straight. And I'm like, oh my. And then the counselor would say, like, how many times a day do you pray? You need to pray together. And then his family, when I'd obviously moved back to my own home with my parents, I'd wake up to like potions of what is like done in Islam, which is one of the biggest sins, but like black magic, like just concoctions of crap, like weird
Potions. Okay, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Yeah,
shit, like weird shit. And like, yeah, I'd just be woken up to seeing that outside my villa. Like, I had a little dog. There was some weird, like, creepy things. Like, it was just, yeah, it was horrible.
Wow,
that's definitely not Islamic. That's probably cultural. Okay, nothing to do with Islam whatsoever. If let's assume that what she said is true, there's nothing whatsoever to do with Islam. Okay, definitely has nothing whatsoever to do with Islam. Okay, anyway, let's continue.
Imagine like a
nail clippings,
like,
weird shit.
like a really dark like a 5
Yeah.
court appointed or not marriage counselors that you had to go through.
Official ones, yes, exactly. Even file your application for divorce in the courts. They say, well, let's have some little counseling, and lo and behold,
Yeah,
it's the most
I think counseling is pretty much normal in any divorce proceedings. Okay, process regardless whether Muslim or non-Muslim. Okay, all right. So yeah, we have as I mentioned earlier, the process for divorce in Malaysia, especially for Muslims, they will have to go through a reconciliation process or basically go through a counseling process first. But if the marriage cannot be saved, then it goes to the next stage, which is basically divorce. Okay. Some couples, there are exceptions, by the way. There are some couples which skip the counseling part and they just go straight to divorce. Okay, so it depends on the couple, on how willing they are to save marriage. Okay, so the way that she described it is as though she was forced into counseling. Okay, but in Malaysia, a couple can to go through counseling and just go ahead with the divorce. Okay, so I don't know how the divorce proceedings for Muslims in the UK or in the UAE is practiced, but in Malaysia, the couple is given a choice whether to go through counseling, to go through reconciliation, or to just go ahead with the divorce without going through any mediatory process. Okay, so there's total freedom in deciding this. So I don't know what is she trying to BS about. Okay. I'm going to skip certain parts again
explaining it to
because
them, right?
it's quite painful to hear her ignorance here, because the things that she mentioned are quite personal for her. And I don't want to judge, but there are also some things which are very ignorant of her to say, to presume that Islam teaches this or Islam teaches that, just unique to that particular country or situation. Okay, she can't seem to differentiate between culture and the religion. Okay, the true practice of the religion. So there are some things in the process which may or related to Islam. Okay, but but like I said, it's not um it's not fair of her to judge Islam just based on her own experience. Okay, so an anecdote is not justification or evidence against Islam. Okay, right? So anyway, let's continue.
And again, just on a quick note, because you are Muslim by your name and whatever, your default law that you have
By
to follow
your name or whatever, there's no such thing in Islam where you are Islam. Okay, probably culturally, yes, through culture, yes, but not through Islam. I mean, Islam, you can call yourself whatever you want. You can even call yourself David and still okay, right?
that is Sharia. If you are Muslim, like you can then request to follow English law. So that was my backup plan, was to say, obviously, I want to implement English law in this state, because at least
Yeah,
English
I
law
mean, I think this is unique to the UK, because in Malaysia we don't have this. I mean, if you want to go through you want to go through a divorce for a Muslim couple who wants to go through a divorce, then they have to go through the Sharia courts. Okay, so anyway, this is very UK. I think this is UK. This is only practiced in the UK. So anyway,
That's so. Is Sharia law different around the world, or is it just one blanket thing?
So technically, like, Sharia has certain prescriptions, like obviously for, like, adultery.
you notice that she didn't answer the question directly. David, the host, clearly asked, is Sharia a blanket law, across the Muslim world, or is it unique, um, depending on the location and the country? The answer is unique depending on the country. There are certain laws which are fixed in stone. Okay, like for example, those punishments, the hard laws, which are already mentioned in the Quran, that cannot be changed. But there are also laws which are not mentioned in the Quran, which are part of the Sharia, and this is called, okay. So we have the had, the hudud, and we have ta'zir. Ta'zir means laws which are at the discretion of the judge or according to the locality. Okay, so in Malaysia, we don't practice the hard laws, unfortunately, but we do have takzir laws, and these takzir laws refer to mostly family inheritance, and I believe there are one or two criminal punishments which are not covered um, by the civil courts, such as, for example, transgender laws, etc. But they are far and few in between, and they're not practiced widely, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it depends on locality, and each state, by the way, in Malaysia has its own religious laws. Okay, each state is different. For one, we have 12 states in Malaysia, and each state has its own set of Islamic law. So imagine that. Okay, one particular thing that you do in one state may be illegal there, but then in another state it may be permissible. Like for example, joining the Naqshbandi. Okay, so in certain states, the Naqshbandi are banned. Okay, but in other places, the Naqshbandi are allowed. So yeah, so that's one example. Okay, there are so many other examples. So it depends on the locality, basically. So to answer your question, David, Sharia is not a blanket law, except for those which are mentioned in the Quran explicitly. Okay.
Thievery and stuff like this, amputations and lashings and all of that. But obviously,
Yeah,
the way it manifests
amputation.
in
Yeah,
each individual
she talked amputations, lashings. But please tell me which country in the Muslim world has currently practicing the hard laws in totality. Okay, please tell me which country. I mean, I wouldn't even say Malaysia, because I know that Malaysia does not even practice Islam in its entirety. Okay, so there's not a single Muslim country in the world which practices the laws or the Sharia in full. Okay, not a single one. Okay, so all right. So anyway, let's continue.
country depends respectively on the country's history and their their relationship with Islam. Like in Pakistan, it was the constitution and everything was a lot more secular, and then we had this dictator come in, Zia al-Haq, and he actually brought we call them hudud, like the most strictest Sharia punishments, which include amputations and beheadings.
Zia al-Haq came into when he came into power, he started to implement an Islamic program, which I think he tried to Islamize the country, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to comment too much on it because it might hurt the feelings of some Pakistanis. But I personally think that because Zia ul Haq was a dictator, he was a military dictator, so maybe he had an agenda behind it. But wallahu alam, I wouldn't want to comment on it. But I think that hasn't hurt Pakistan at all because I think Pakistan progressive in that aspect. Okay, so I'm going to read the comments. I'm going to take a break from listening to her annoying little voice and let's read the comments here. Feminists when there's no war, man, we're equal. When a war breaks out, we are women. That's women for you, brother. That's women for you. Congratulations. You have just discovered the power of women. Okay, inside. Waalaikum salam warahmatullah, brother Dread. Great to see you here, mashallah. Brother Speed, I got a question. Off topic. Go ahead, ask your question in the chat and I'll come back to it, all right? But let me continue responding to or reacting to Nuriyah Khan. Okay, this bitch of holy humanist. There's nothing about being a humanist. You might as well just call yourself the unholy humanist, okay? Because being unholy is evil, okay? Humanism is evil, right? So anyway, let's continue.
And things like that. He actually brought that into law and made it, and therefore like the blasphemy law and all these things kind of like turned up a notch in countries that they're also their case law and precedent and like what like some women have. India, for example, triple talaq, which is guaranteed in Islam for men. It's actually like it's there, it's codified. A man just needs to say the word divorce. I divorce you. It really doesn't happen. You live a really good life as an expat there. So in your bubble of being a Muslim woman, you think nice, like even the police officers, the fact that they can't take you, like I to big that up is that so good of them. It was just a matter of time when I actually had to use that to like ensure my safety and freedom. But yeah, so it manifests quite differently in every country depending on where they're trying to go. Also their case law and precedent and like what like some women have. India, for example, triple talaq, which is guaranteed in Islam for men. It's actually like it's there, it's codified. A man just needs to say the word divorce. I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you 3 times, and technically, Islamically, you are divorced. Or there's something akin to that as well. If you say to your wife, like, "Oh, you remind me of you're the back of you looks like my mother" or something, she's also immediately divorced. Like there's these weird.
Yeah, that is part of talaq. So okay, talaq there are different types of talaq. Okay, there's different types of talaq for the men. Okay, so the one that she just mentioned, the triple talaq, that is like the most extreme talaq because okay, for the men, the Muslim men, we can pronounce the talaq to our wives by saying "I divorce you." So if you say that once, that's considered the first talaq. If you say twice, "I divorce you," that's dual talaq. So that's double. So for the first talaq and the second, if you say the talaq the first once or you say it twice, you could still with your wife during her iddah period. So when you divorce your wife, there is a period called the iddah for 3 months where you could still have a chance to reconcile with your wife. But if you say the divorce 3 times, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you 3 times, that is the triple talaq and there's no return. So basically, once you say that 3 times, the wife of yours, you can never remarry her. She marries another man and that man divorces her. Only then you can marry her again. Okay, so that's how the process works. And in Malaysia, especially, we don't resort to triple talaq because that's very extreme. Okay, that's too extreme. I'm not sure about South Asians, but if you do that culturally, I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's part of Islam. Okay, to do the triple talaq. Okay, unless if you're really, I don't know. Unless if there's something wrong with you, I think. Okay, but in Malaysia, we don't practice this. We don't practice triple talaq. I mean, it's very extreme. It's a very rare a Muslim man to pronounce the triple talaq on the wife. Okay, I've never heard of anyone doing that actually. Okay, honestly, I've never heard of anyone doing this, unless if it's a very very extreme case. Okay, and it's very rare that this happens. Okay, so because a triple talaq is not something you want to play with. Okay, right? So it's a very powerful weapon. You know what Uncle Ben says: with great power comes great responsibility. Yeah, this is exactly what it is about. Okay. Okay, brother, Mr. Speed, I'm going to answer your question. Let me brother, Mr. Speed, I don't have any good Muslim friends. I'm engaged in haram. I've listened to music, but I give up. I don't read Salat, but I feel that Muslims don't like me. I don't backbite. Okay, that's the first part. Second part, I feel that I'm not wanted and people look down on me. I'm still a Muslim. I believe in Allah and His Messenger. Okay, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Okay, I'm depressed and suffer from severe anxiety. So I listen to make music and I treat myself bad. I'm nothing. Allah hates me. Maybe on my life. Okay, brother, I'm going to tell you this. All right. My position with regards to music is that music is not haram. Okay, I mean, I know there are some Muslims who would disagree strongly with me, especially the haram police. Especially those who follow the Hanafi madhab. Okay, me personally, I don't follow any particular. Well, I follow mostly Shafi'i madhab, the Shafi'i madhab, but I try to be more like the Salaf in the sense that I don't try to stick to just one madhab ruling. Okay, so I would say this. Okay, I would say that music is not haram unless if it forces you to do haram things. Okay, right. And for me, if the music is positive, is good, there's no problem with it, right? Yes, I'm talking about music in general. Okay. Okay, brother. I have music with bad words on my channel. Made that issue. Yeah, of course. Brother, I'm a very strong fan of Eminem. Okay. So imagine this. Okay, I sing Rap God. Okay, the Rap God. Okay, so I have no problem singing Rap God. Okay, I even sing S like that. Okay, I know it's a bad word, but hey, I mean, for me, as long as you don't indulge in the haram things when listening to this kind of music, then there's no problem with listening to it. Okay, I know there are some haram police Muslims who would say, "Oh, music is haram. Music is forbidden. You will go to hell if you listen to music." But personally, I don't find music to be an issue unless if you indulge in music that really does bring you to do haram. Like for example, heavy metal music, yes, that's haram because heavy metal music can lead you to do haram things. Death metal, satanic metal music, yes, that's haram, obviously, because it praises Satan. Okay, so that kind of music is haram for me. I know Eminem is somewhat borderline haram because of the lyrics, if but when I listen to Eminem, I don't really listen to the lyrics. I listen more to the flow of his words and the tone of his voice more so than the lyrics. So I don't really capture the lyrics because he speaks too fast sometimes, right? So for me, it's just a sound. It's just a sound. It's like clapping. Okay, it's no different than clapping to a tone. Okay, to me, all right. So personally, I wouldn't be so concerned about listening to music. Okay, I know the haram police will say otherwise, but brother, take it from me. All right, we don't need to go into such strict measures, right, when it comes to music. All right. So I think music is actually balm for the soul. There's no need to fret over it. Okay. Oh, brother Freddy is here. Walaikum salam warahmatullah, my brother from Azerbaijan. MashaAllah, brother. I haven't seen you in quite a while. Okay. Anyway, speed. All right, let me see now. I don't drink or sleep with women, but I listen to music and smoke. I don't pray. I weak spiritually. Well, brother, I would advise you to start praying, of course. Of course. I know that we all have our weaknesses, but yes, please do the salah because salah is very important for us because it's the pillars of Islam. It's the pillar of the house, as the Prophet said. Um, you know, there is this hadith where he says, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says that doing the salah is like building a house with pillars, and without these pillars, okay, the house of Islam would fall. So do your salah. So it's very important. Okay, this I cannot force you to do. This you have to come to a realization for yourself. And I'm here to preach. I'm an apologist. I'm not a dying. Okay, so I do apologetics. So it's not my place what to do and what not to do. But I think you know well that you should do it. And yes, please do it. Right. And listening to music, I have no problems with you listening to music. Okay, it's not haram to me. Smoking, yes. Well, I hold to the position that smoking is haram, but I do understand that people do take time to ease out of it. Okay, so if you realize that smoking is wrong, then yes, you can ease out of it. I know there are some people who actually say that smoking is makruh. Okay, so but I don't ascribe to that view. I do believe that smoking is haram because it harms your body. Okay, but you don't have to take my position. You can always hold to the position that smoking is makruh. Okay, and if you do believe that smoking is wrong, then yeah, you can ease out of it gradually, brother, inshallah. So don't worry about it, right? Okay, so brother Dread Insight, as he says here, yes, he's correct. But the Malaysian Fatwa Council says music is not haram, right? Exactly, right. And listening and talking to me, you still have to pay super chats for other Muslims to talk to you. Nah, brother, I don't force people to do super chats here. Although I would love to get your super chats from you. Okay, I would appreciate a super chat or two, but I don't force my viewers to give me super chats. All right. May Allah bless you. Thank you, brother. Likewise to you. All right. Likewise to you. All right. Being depressed and having anxiety, I'm tired, brother. Don't worry, Aki. Just do it slowly. Take it one step at a time. Don't listen to morons like David Wood and this bitch Nuriyah Khan, or even a pussy apostate prophet to tell you what Islam is about. Take it one. Go to your local imam or someone whom you trust, whom you know has knowledge about Islam, and talk to them. Listen to their advice. Try slowly go into prayer to the salah. Inshallah, you will become a better. Don't take your religion from this bitch, okay, or from those on the internet who have zero knowledge about Islam, but they try to become the devil and they try to influence you to leave Islam. Okay, because Islam is always the solution to all our problems, inshallah. Right? I mean, I have to tell you frankly, I'm not perfect myself. I mean, I too have my own weaknesses. Okay, but I to always strive to do better every day. So, like I've mentioned before, I'm not a da'i, I'm an apologist. Okay, so I do commit some sins here and there, but hey, I'm not perfect, man. But I'm not going to leave my religion just because this bitch says that you're not perfect. Okay, so yeah, no need to listen to. There's no need to listen to this bitch. People like this bitch, right? I watch a lot of Muslim YouTubers, Ali Dawa. Good for you. Good for you. Continue listening to them, inshallah. They are very good for the soul, mashallah. Those brothers are really wonderful brothers. I listen to Muslims on YouTube. That's good. That is a start. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, yes, thank you, brother, for that. But please excuse me. I will need to continue. Reacting to this bitch, right? So I only have about an hour before I end the show, right? So because I have something on later. Let's continue.
That's so bizarre.
I know, it's so weird. But yes, so India then now has abolished
Let me try to oops, sorry. I kind of
and made it.
let me try
Is
to
Muslim.
extend this.
But it's fun to call her best friend because we kind of like we became friends online and we like chat all the time. She's not, but so when we talk about like these things, we talk about cultural differences rather than Quranic differences. And the thing that I have always noticed that I think Islam has a specific problem with is Islam makes the decree that the Quran is explicitly from God, perfect. Like it's not written down essentially by man. It's like word for word, exactly what God said. Where the Bible, the Torah, the Bhagavad Gita, they don't have those problems.
It's not a problem, David, okay, at all, because we Muslims believe that the Quran is verbatim the word of God, and that we have ample evidence to prove that it is the word of God. Whereas the Bible, the book that you call the Bible, was compiled from the writings of men over centuries. Okay. The Quran came down to us in 23 years, okay, and we have mutawatir hadiths and narrations which proves this, okay, and our history is different. The Quranic history is different from the biblical history, okay, so we have evidence for this, right, to prove that the Quran is truly the word of God, okay, so there's nothing strange about this claim of ours because we have the evidence. Don't, the Jews don't, okay, but the Muslims do. All right, so don't compare the Quran with that of the Bible because they are two different books entirely. Okay.
And I sometimes wonder if that one thing is what has stopped Islam from progressing like them to have, because like, and just to I'm just going to read a little section of the Bible I carried through ministry college. So just to give a taste of
fun. Please, yeah.
So this was one of the scriptures that I read to someone, like someone in my church, and said like, this is causing me some, because this is a New Testament scripture, meaning that it's the New Covenant, it's instructions from Paul, it's right up next to like all the other stuff that Christians like to quote.
Yeah, we don't care about what Paul has to say about the Bible, because Paul is Satan's apostle. Okay, so yeah, we Muslims don't believe in Paul, right? So
have authority over man, she must be silent. For Adam was formed first, then Eve, and Adam was not the one who.
Yeah, I don't care what Paul says.
I really seriously for the Abrahamic God. Honestly, he's so anti-women. Like, what's wrong with you? Why create us? Honestly,
I know it's bizarre. Hey,
okay, she's becoming the feminist bitch that she see. Okay, why Allah created women for men? Because women complement the man, and the man complements the women, and both of them have roles to play. That is why God created men and women. Okay, it's that simple. Okay, you can't. I mean, a woman cannot survive without a man, and unfortunately or fortunately, I'm not really sure at this juncture. But yeah, a man cannot survive without a woman. Both complement each other. Okay, that is why Allah created us in pairs, Adam and Eve. Right? Our mother Hawa, okay, and our father Adam. Okay, so yeah, that is why, Nuriyah.
But something like this is dismissed by Christians, and they'll say, "Well, that was for a time. I still hate. They still hate the gays. That's not for a time." But
exactly.
they hate,
Yeah, please don't impose your Christian values upon us, David, because we are totally different. Okay, let me see if I can want to listen to these two idiots talking about religion when they don't even know what they're talking about. When it comes to Islam, because in Islam the traditions are totally different. Okay, so let me see now if I can push this further. It's still loading on my end here. Okay, let me see if I can play this.
Muslims be just as hypocritical as most Christians. In fact, I think they are, to be honest. I think most
They are,
Muslims
yeah,
around the world are just as hypocritical as most Christians. But why can't there be a reformation of Islam? Do you think it's possible?
Well, honestly, I think you really hit the nail on the head where you said it, because of the very fundamental claim of Islam, which is that the Quran is the literal word of God, like verbatim, these are God's words. So how do you go about reforming God's words? And even if you were trying to reform God's words, surely
why would Islam need to be reformed? Islam is already a reformist religion. It reformed the religions of the past. Okay, it reformed Christianity, it reformed Judaism. Okay, so the concept of reform is already in Islam right from the very beginning, when the Prophet ﷺ received the first revelation. It reformed the Quraysh tribe, the Qurayshi tribe that he was part of, which were pagans, and they worshipped multiple gods. So it came to reform that religion and to remove idolatry. Islam came to correct the past scriptures. Right? Islam came to sense that they are wrong in bowing down to a half-naked Jewish man swinging from a cross. And Islam came to tell the Jews that no, you guys are wrong for believing that you are the true gods, just because you had prophets coming from your line, your progeny, from your line, from your descendants, doesn't make you superior to any other man. And Islam came to reform the attitudes of the pagan Arabs who killed their children, who killed their daughters. Okay, they buried their daughters because they had such a low view of women. And Islam came to elevate the position of women and reform that. So yeah, I don't know what you were talking about, but you totally have no inkling of this history on why Islam has come to do. And yes, you are a liar, you are a bitch, and you are a coward because you hide behind your screen making claims like this when you have absolutely no idea what is, and you try to bombard your host with all the funny claims that you make, especially with regards to the one example that I can think of was earlier on when you mentioned about the Sunnah of doing the Adan in the baby, in a newborn Muslim. Okay, that's one example. So yeah, this kind of things just annoys me. Then okay, it annoys the hell out of me because it's not something alien or strange to Islam or to Muslims, but she's making it out as though it's something exotic and exciting and mystical. Okay, there's nothing mystical or exciting or exotic. It's just something that we practiced from the time of Islam itself, because that was what the Prophet taught us. Okay, you little bitch. Okay, so let's continue. Right.
first question that pops into mind is that God's words are meant to be infallible. So how am I, a simple human being, here trying to like edit God's words? Like, who am I? But again, it's even like the amount of exegesis they've had to do on every single Quran verse to try and make sense of it. And some of them still, like, there's certain parts of the Quran, there's one bit that says Alif Lam Mim, and when you recite it, you just say like Alif Lam Mim for the longest time, and nobody knows what that is. It's even the
Yeah, she's talking about the alphabets which that it's not just Alif Lam Mim, by the way. There's Alif Lam Ra, there's To Ha Ya Sin, so there's Kaf Ha Ya Ain Sod. So what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to living Islam, or fighting for human rights, as your title here claims says, right? It's really stupid. Okay, it's really stupid.
exegesis of it is just, and now theories are coming out which make a lot more sense. A whole other turn into like mantras and magic and masonry at the time, and yeah, that's a whole other episode in itself. But yeah, I think exactly my views on Islam reforming are very similar to yours. What I think is happening is that Muslims as people are reforming because they're having to keep up with modern times, and the ones that live in the West especially.
Yeah, I think she's talking about the proggies, okay, those who are liberal. I think whom Brother Daniel would refer to as compassionate imams. Yeah, those are the kind of people that she is referring. Sorry, we don't follow them. Okay, I wouldn't follow them. Okay, so matter whether they exist or not. Okay, let me skip this further. Coming to terms with Christianity. Okay, I don't know what this section is about, but let's listen to it.
And then people just wanting to dismiss it, like wanting to be like, oh, God's ways are above our ways, or and sin enter the world. This is why you haven't, and I love that you just put it like that,
Well, yeah, because honestly, David, I love that you've actually touched on this. I don't think I've actually talked about this with anybody as to why that was the first thing that came to my mind when I was like, okay, let me actually start speaking about Islam because it's so problematic. The only reason I was able to get out, because I look at my peers and people around me and my friends, and they're educated to the same degree that I am, right? My parents are very well educated. Like, everybody around me must have these thoughts. But the only reason I was able to actually get out is because I followed those signs from what I read in the Quran, then I verified with the Hadith, and I looked into the Prophet's life. Then I kind of put everything together. Then I searched it online myself. I watched videos from both sides, and I was literally just letting my mind do its thing. But I was following.
Yeah, I think I don't believe you, actually, Nuriyah. I don't believe you. If you had really studied religion, you have studied Islam, then you wouldn't be a murtad. You wouldn't be a murtada. Okay. Yeah, I think you're just lying through your teeth. I think you're just following the crowd. It just so happens, unfortunately, that the crowd that you followed were anti-religion. So that is what you decided to follow. Okay, so, and I don't believe your story about coming from a pious or from a religious family anyway. I'm pretty sure she's as secular as they come. Okay, so she probably has never practiced Islam in the household. Okay, apart from the occasional reading of the Quran, perhaps, or going to the mosque and learning some surahs. That's it. It just ends there. And after she has gone through that process, he probably has not touched the Quran or do the salah after that. Okay, so I know how this secularists think because I used to be one of them. Okay, so I know very well that you are from a nominal family. Okay, so it's not something which was non-existent in Malaysia at one point of time. Okay, but fortunately, Alhamdulillah, I think things have changed now in Malaysia. We have very few. There are still secular families, unfortunately, but there are far and few in between. Okay, most of us are pretty much religious these days, Alhamdulillah. So things have changed towards for the better, and we have moved closer to Islam. But this bitch here is trying to pull Muslims away from Islam. So, one anecdotal story is not going to pull us away from Islam. Okay. So let me continue this.
The evidence, and I wasn't burying my head in the sand. For the first time when I saw something, I for the first time had an adult conversation with myself, and I said, Nuriyah, you're going to read this book. You're not going to read it like you tried to read it as a teenager, or you thought it was like the most amazing thing, like almost too sacred to even touch when you're a child. You, without all the bias of this being like, I used to sit there as a teenager and be like, when I'd open the Quran, I'd be like, God is talking to me now. I'm about to converse with God. But when I actually went through that stuff in the Quran, I came back and I'm like, literally with a legal mind, I'm like, how did they put this law on me? And I was like, oh my God, that's so clever. Legally, I got you too. Like, that works. That checks out.
Yeah, I don't know what she's talking about. So anyway, let's move this. Does Islam have a monetary value? Okay, let's listen to that.
Your testimony would be considered full. Mine would be half. So there's that. Well, if your son, yeah, go ahead.
Is that just a culture thing, or is that a
no? This is Sharia. This is Sharia. Women's testimony is worth half of a man. And then Muhammad is so kind enough to elaborate on why that is for us. And he says it's because women are deficient in three things.
She's talking about the witnesses. Okay, so the Quran says that take the testimony of a man's testimony, one person, and then if a woman testifies, then she should have another person with her, another woman with her. So Islamophobes, they like to use this verse as evidence somehow that women is half of a man. Okay, but the problem is that this particular verse is only referring to laws concerning inheritance, concerning property. Okay, it does not at all refer to laws concerning rape or murder or any of the heavier laws. Okay, so again, she's just misinterpreting that verse. Okay, that verse is specific about property or inheritance laws. Okay, there's nothing whatsoever. Let's say if there's a murder that happened in front of her, she could testify as a single individual. She doesn't need to call another person to strengthen her testimony on her behalf. Okay, so yeah, it's just showing her ignorance of Sharia, of the Quranic laws. Okay, and yeah, that just goes to show that she's a liar when she says that she knows Islam. Okay, because she obviously does not. Okay, I mean, this is so basic, Nuriyah. I mean, this verse is like this verse of getting the testimony of one man for this particular law, and then if a woman testifies, she needs to get another partner to confirm, to strengthen her. With regards to property, by the way, just goes to and you try to apply this to other types of crimes or other types of situations. I think that just shows your ignorance, Nuriyah. Okay, so you definitely do not know anything about Islam. Okay.
Intellect and something else. Religion, piety, intellect.
Yeah, I think that's just stupid because she's talking about another hadith which has nothing whatsoever to do with the law. Okay.
And something else. And the majority of us are in hell because we answer back to our husbands. So all of this is because
the reason why women are majority of women are in hell is because of people like you, Nuriyah. Okay, you are going to be one of them. Okay, right? Because it's a fact that there are many women apostates. Okay, who are very popular online. Okay, yeah, don't worry, you'll be part of the hellfire. That's for sure. Okay, and you'll be part of the majority in the hellfire, and the majority people in hellfire will be women. Okay, there's nothing sexist about this because, as we know, women are they are fallible and much more easy to succumb to sin. Okay, and it's not just because it's just because they are created that way. It's not a slight on them. It's not because they are women. It's because that's the way they are. Okay, so it's not a reason or an excuse to demean women. Also, by the way, it's just how it is. Okay, so the Prophet was just stating as a matter of fact when he this was during the Isra and Mikraj, by the way. So when he went, so the Prophet went to the heavens, he saw that the majority of people in the hellfire were women. When he came back from this Isra wal Mikraj, from this event, so he mentioned this to his followers, obviously, and his companions asked, why is it that women, the majority in the hellfire? Is because then the Prophet answered, because they are weak. Okay, because they are susceptible to sin. Okay, prone to doing sin. Okay, like you, Nuriyah. Okay, so yeah. So the Prophet did not actually say that it's not actually trying to demean women or anything of the sort. He's just saying it as a matter of fact. That's just how it is. That's just how the world works. Okay, it's not because you are women. It's because that's just how it is. Okay, if the number of men outnumber the number of women in the hellfire, I don't think the Prophet would say, oh no, I didn't see any men in the hellfire. I only saw women. Okay, I mean, who are you trying to fool, Nuriyah? Okay, so anyway, let's continue.
A woman is deficient in intelligence, therefore you are not able to stand your ground in a court of law and have enough agency. You need another woman, lest you forget. You need to be reminded.
Yeah, property laws. Okay, so I'm going to just skip that. Okay, she's just repeating the same.
But it's like I was saying, like, in order to get as close as possible to an objectively truthful view of reality we live in, for the purpose of this document, I mentally done all that's not count to decide my personal, spiritual, cultural, or emotional beliefs. The understanding that any truthful worldview will have evidence to reach those conclusions without my justification. So I wasn't worried that.
I'm going to just skip this part because I'm not interested to talk about that. Okay. Let me go to defining terms.
I think we have the same brain, because I love what you said there, because I've literally had that fantasy a million times where it's like, I wish I could just get this person and like lock them in a room, and we're both locked in this room and we define terms, and we have to agree at the end of this conversation on this. Like, we're reading the same source, we're reading the same information, like we're defining every single letter of the alphabet we have to, and we're going to agree at the end. And I'm going to find out that I'm wrong, or they're going to find out that they're wrong. And I've got this like, I just wish you could like do that, because there's so many people, they just like, you have conversations with them, and I'm sure you get this with Muslims, like they'll duck and they'll be like, well, what is? And they'll just move to a different subject, and then just move the goalposts around like crazy. And you're like, well, can we just talk about what we were talking about?
Yeah, most definitely. And for me, it's like also when it becomes so apparent, because like for me, it's so easy. Like when you do, you go for the low hanging fruit in Islam, especially like if it's out of the Quran, because no matter what
Low hanging
sect,
fruit,
or
huh?
I like to call it like species or breed of Islam you follow. What you have to, the fundamental claim is that the Quran is
By the
like
way, there's only
legit.
one Islam, bitch. It's La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Okay. There's no brand of Islam or strain of Islam. Say the Shahada and you believe that, only one true God, and that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is the apostle, and you believe in all the prophets of the past, including Jesus Alayhi Salam as well. And of course, you believe in the 4 books, the Torah, the true Torah, the true Taurat, Injil, Zabur, and of course the Quran. And of course, you believe that angels exist, you believe in fate, you believe in the existence of heaven and hell, then you are a Muslim. Okay. And there's no strain of Islam. Okay. Unless of course if you go into the sectarian mindset, which is a different story altogether. Okay. So okay, anyway, let's continue this.
The word of God. You can like dally around the hadiths and whatever till the cows come home, but the second you say, well, Quran 434, let's have a chat, they're like, oh my goodness.
Quran 434. Oh, okay, the so-called wife beating hadith. By the way, this is how you beat your wife, with this, the miswak. Okay, the hadiths clearly say that 434. Okay, there's a process to Quran Surah An-Nisa verse 34, right? So the first process is you admonish your wife, okay, for disobedience. The second process is that if she doesn't listen to you, then you separate yourself from her. Okay. If she still doesn't want to, then you beat her with this miswak. Okay. The hadiths clearly say that you admonish your wife with this and cause harm to her, and you cannot hurt her, and you cannot make her black and blue, etc. Okay. This is the same argument that that apostate prophet tried to use against me, and I showed this. This is the latest stick that Nuriyah Apusi and now Nuriyah Khan, the bitch Nuriyah Khan, is so afraid of. Okay. This is the stick, Nuriyah, that I'm supposed to beat you with if you are a disobedient wife. Okay. Okay. This is for disobedient wives. Are you afraid of this? Here you go. You're afraid of the miswak. Okay. So yeah, I always have this miswak ready because I know that, okay, this is let me try to put it in frame. Right. This is the miswak that disobedient wives are afraid of. Okay. It's really nothing to it. I mean, it's basically like nothing at all, man. Okay. And I don't know why she has to make it out as though it's something so terrifying and so uh so uh so dangerous to the lives of women all over the world. Okay. Okay. Again, she's lying through her teeth. Right. There's nothing to be afraid of when it comes to Surah An-Nisa verse 34. I'm not afraid of it. Okay. Maybe you are afraid of it because you're afraid of being bitten by the stick. Okay.
No, let's not have this conversation. Like each religion,
Yeah.
everyone's
Okay.
is their own, and they literally, you see the panic tactics that are ensuing because
panicking.
if they confront the very,
I'm not panicking at all.
there's something in there that might be, it just morally reprehensible, but also uncomfortable for you as an individual living in 2022 with your mind and the way you treat your own family and your views and your morals and your politics and everything, for you to think that your Allah could have screwed up that badly.
No, Allah does not screw up, but you did. Okay, you have screwed up because human beings screw up, but not God. Okay, please don't be devious, Nuriyah. Okay, you little bitch. Okay.
So like, I honestly, just back to what you were saying as well, sometimes when a video comes out of mine and it's doing really well, like even my video,
I
one of
don't
my
even
first ones
bother watching your channel, Nuriyah. I don't know what you're talking
about feminism and Islam, that's an oxymoron.
Yeah, there's no such thing as feminism in Islam. Okay. So it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you think about feminism in Islam, because I don't believe that feminism exists in Islam, and I think feminism is actually anathema to Islam. Okay, because it goes against Islam itself. Okay, the very core of Islam itself. Yeah.
she obviously like she's just a beautiful like individual. She just obviously wants the best for her child, right? She was so excited like for me, and I was like, Mom, actually, like, please don't watch it, because I was scared. Like, I know how much her faith means to her, and whatever cotton candy version of Islam that she
Yeah, I don't know what BS trying to say here. So let's just move it in front. Okay. Anyway, before I continue, I'm going to read the comments again. I think Brother Sydney Football just came back from his match. I hope you had a good match, okay? Right. So let me see if I can read this. Yeah. Sorry, I'm coming out. I just come back from training. Oh my God, that sounds painful. I hope that you recover from that. Yes. I pretty much I very well understand how strenuous that could be. All right. Brother Sydney Football again. Did she even attempt to make a new Islamic instead? Nah, she's just repeating the same shit over and over again. Okay, I'm having fun blaspheming her name, so to speak. Okay, I'm having fun insulting the bitch. Okay, the whoring little bitch. Okay, hey, don't blaspheme you. Yep, exactly. She just tried to blaspheme. Okay, and of course I gave her a piece of my mind. Okay. I dare her to blaspheme in front of a Muslim. Yeah, she should try that. Okay, she should actually try that in Malaysia, because if she does that in Malaysia, then immediately she'll be cut off to the nearest jail, and we will in a dungeon and throw away the key. Okay, which I think she definitely deserves to be in. Okay. Feminism is directly against. Yep, I agree with you. Definitely. There's no such thing as feminism in Islam, because feminism itself is anathema to Islam. Just as if you say that Nazism in Islam, there's no such thing as Nazism in Islam. Just as you would say communism in Islam, there's no such thing as communism in Islam. Just as you say there's capitalism in Islam, there's no such thing as capitalism in Islam. Okay, so no, we don't have isms in Islam. There's only Islam in Islam. Okay, all right. Okay, so another ex-Muslim again. Yup, unfortunately, I have to deal with another ex-Muslim again, because this bitch has been going around on other people's podcasts saying nasty things about Islam and lying through her teeth about Islam. So if you go back to the video, which I would later, of course, I will still keep this video uh in the public sphere. Okay, so once this live stream has ended, you can actually replay the whole thing again, and you will find that she made very weird claims about Islam. Okay, which actually shows her ignorance, because we don't practice this, but she's claiming that Muslims do practice it. So, her claims. Okay, so it's ridiculous. I mean, yeah. Okay, let me see now. Which feminist? 80s or Sunnatlist feminist? Maybe Sajat type feminist. Sajat. Islamophobes are cowards. They just feel comfortable behind their cameras. Yep, I agree with you. They are just cowards, man. They just like to lie and blaspheme and make silly claims, and they try to impress their non-Muslim hosts about their so-called knowledge of Islam. But when the push comes to shove, you will find that they actually have zero knowledge about Islam, right? They don't actually know anything about Islam apart from what their biases or what they are familiar what they were familiar with in their own circle of family and friends. So they don't actually know anything about Islam apart from what they already with in their society. Okay. So anyway, let's continue this.
Whatever, I'm not gonna I'm just, but this is what it's like. We can have a conversation if you're ready to have a conversation, because people's faiths are so important to them, and if they're not ready to have that conversation, you just push them further into cognitive dissonance. And then but I'm tempted. Let's do it. Let's have a discussion. No, I'm sorry, I was changing subjects. I'm tempted to have a discussion on Quran 434. What is that? I don't know what that is. What verse is that? What does it say?
I just told you what before is about the man, the husband admonishing his wife. Okay. Yeah, I don't listen to this bitch, all right, because she's going to misinterpret. Let's hear her, or let's hear what she has to say about it, because I'm pretty sure she's going to misinterpret the verse again. But let's listen to her.
I said, let's have a conversation. Let's do it.
Islam instructs you, Allah instructs you to deal with your wives when they're not completely obedient and listening to you. So you basically need to warn them, and then you need to separate your bed from them, like you're doing them such a favor. Honestly, thirdly, you need to beat them, and that's it. That's why I really beat them, because that is
this is how you beat them, with a miswak. Why are you so afraid of the miswak, you little bitch, you little whore, you little jalang, you pukima anak haram betina sial? Okay, you're afraid of this, aren't you? You're afraid of this.
Original translation. I don't care for apologists saying lightly with a toothbrush, like a miswak, like just a tap on the wrist, like
What
that's
translation?
anyone that doesn't add anything. Maybe try Picket Hall or maybe even Mohsin Khan. I've been slacking in my Quran reading.
Okay, she's just commenting on I think on the oops, is my internet all right? I think I have some problems here with the internet. Oh dear. There's some problems with the net at the moment. Oops, my connection having issues. Okay, I'm going to have to okay, internet is back, right? Guys, am I back? I think I had a problem with the internet. Anyway, she was just trying to be insulting. Okay, there's nothing interesting here. So I'm just going to go in front again and let me see if I can
Daraba translates
listen this.
to like beat and strike.
Right.
And the way that they would do it back in the day, in those glorious days, according to Islam, the days before Islam were ignorant days, but Islam has it all sussed out. So what they would do is they would beat them similarly to how they would like tame their like cattle. So they
She's
would
just making up stories. I never heard anyone beating their wives like cattle. Okay, so that's just ridiculous.
get the branches of the date trees, and that's the same thing I was saying about the policeman earlier. You use a bit of it to like clean your teeth, but you can a whip like thing.
Okay.
So it's like almost like a whip, but you're like
A whip? You're saying miswak is a whip? This is a whip? Oh my god, she's an idiot, man. I think she's starting to make up stories at this juncture, man. I say here. Okay, oh dear, my internet is having issues again. Hello, can anyone see me? Mic working? Oops, connection issues. Okay, it's back again. Sorry for the internet disruption. I think there's some disruption here going on. I'm going to try to hasten things here. Okay. Let me see the comments. Okay. I bet she supports freedom of choice for women to wear whatever they want, but doesn't support burqa. Yep, I'm pretty sure she's that type. Yeah. Oh, X again. Entah dah mutat lama. Lepas tu tunggang atas nama Yep, definitely. Yeah, most likely she wasn't practicing Islam back in her younger days anyway. And then when she found out that it's quite fashionable for someone to be caught and then online, so she decided to wear the ex-Muslim label. So yeah, it's like some sort of brand, you see, some sort of qualification. Like the brother Sydney says, they think ex-Muslim is a qualification. Okay, in my part, call an ex-Muslim is the worst insult that you can give to someone. I don't understand for Muslims in the West or former Muslims in the West wearing the name ex-Muslim as though as is some sort of badge of honor is such a big deal. Because if in Malaysia, especially if you call someone a murtad, that person is going to be very offended. He's going to feel insulted, very, very, very high insulted. Okay, so for Western Muslims, for Western ex-Western, I don't know. I don't want to say anything bad about the Western Muslims in general, but I think for some Westerners in some from a Muslim background, it seems to them that when they I don't know, maybe the brothers in the West can tell me why this is so, but it seems to me that the ex-Muslims in the West, they wear this brand this label very proudly. Okay, I don't understand why this is the case. I really don't. Okay, this guy for her. I could see that. I think this guy is probably infatuated her because yeah, she does have the look. Maybe that's the reason why. Okay. Well, she is a pretty woman. There's no shame in admitting this. Okay. Freedom without burqa sounds like sexist. Yeah, I mean, definitely. She provide the names of the scholar who say that it means washing. I'm pretty sure that she does not even know the name of any single scholar. I'm pretty sure she does not even know who Albani was, or I'm pretty sure she doesn't know who Ibn Taymiyyah was. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know who Ibn Hazm was. I'm pretty sure she doesn't know who Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah was. She wouldn't even know who cite Ramadan al-Buti, or I'm pretty sure she wouldn't even know the name Yusuf al-Qaradawi either. Okay, she's totally an ignorant bitch. Okay, that's just the way it is. Okay, yeah. A whip with a miswak. Exactly. That's what she said, didn't she? She said that this miswak here can be shredded and turned into a whip. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, look at this. Can I turn this into a whip? My God. Okay, that just goes to show how stupid she is. All right. Okay. Stream okay lagi vid je macam ada. Yeah, I know the internet. There's a problem with my internet. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I hope you with me on that. All right. I'm really sorry for the technical, but please bear with me on that. Ex-Muslim is the biggest insult indeed. Exactly. It is an insult to be called an ex-Muslim. I don't know why it's an honor for them, because it's not. Okay. And then brother Alham. Oops, sorry. Yeah, I'm having an internet connection issue again. I really hope that this gets resolved. Okay. Ex-Muslim dah ada kat sini, semua agnostic. Lepas tu banyak hentam Melayu Islam. I know there are ex-Muslims in Malaysia as well. Orang murtad ni kan, perasan dia bagus sangat. Okay, but yeah, we don't have to worry about it, because Islam is still the governing power in the country, alhamdulillah. But yes, we have to be aware of. I know of the existence of their existence. Okay, but don't worry about it. Inshallah, brother, we will go through it. We will overcome this, inshallah. Okay, next. Brother Sydney again. They just got brainwashed by liberalism, and they mean that Islam is better. Yep, exactly. I mean, if you don't like Islam, if you hate Islam that much, why are you still talking about it and making videos out of it? You're joining live streams to talk about it, and you make money. If Islam is a bad deal, why do you still why are you still obsessed with it? Shouldn't you just move on, basically? Okay, just forget about it. Just basically just pack out your bags and say, fuck it, I don't want to be associated with Islam anymore. And then you just go and into the wilderness and live however you want to live, without mentioning Islam at all. But it seems to me that ex-Muslims find it fashionable to still talk about their former religion, even though they claim to hate it that much. They still want to talk about Islam. So yeah, as you said, brother, Islam lives rent-free in their heads. Exactly. I agree with you. Definitely. Yep. There are no groups that call themselves ex-Christians, ex-Buddhists, ex-Hindu, ex-Baha'i, ex-whatever, ex-Mormon. There's no such group. Exactly. I know. I understand it. Yep. Just ex-Muslims, because Islam is living rent-free in their heads. That's why. Okay, anyway, let's finish this, because I really have to go very, very soon.
Like they're hitting the horses and the camels with that as well. But that's what they would use to beat their wives. And then there's a prescription in Islam,
camel.
I think similar to Christianity, to beat your
Did
slave.
you hear what she said? That this can be turned into a whip, and you can hit camels and horses with this. She is being ridiculous, isn't she?
But how to beat your slave a bit differently to how you beat your wife. So
Yeah.
You beat your
There's how to
This
beat
how
your
you-
Hebrew slaves, and then there's different instructions for non-Hebrew slaves.
Miswak.
in the Bible, yeah. And Jesus didn't reform it. Jesus didn't reform the slavery scriptures. But so I have discussions with Muslim TikTokers.
oh, you're brave.
They're everywhere on there.
David, you're right.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fine. I had one conversation.
I'm not
where-
active on TikTok, unfortunately, so let me just skip that. Can the Quran be corrupted? Okay, let me see if there's anything of value to say before I end this.
Yada yada yada. But then that also came from God. So there was some stand-up comedian made a really funny joke the other day. And he was like, I was with one of my white friends, and there was a loud noise on the train. And he was like, I was like, and my white friend turned around, and this guy's obviously Muslim and of Pakistani or Indian origin or whatever. And he was like, my white friend turned around and said to me, see, in a moment of sheer panic, where's your Allah Muhammad gone, mate? You remember Jesus?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you would not want to hear a loud bang and then hear me shout Allahu Akbar.
I don't know, maybe this thing, I mean, I can understand why a Muslim would suddenly say Jesus, when he or she is shocked, because living in a Western culture, I grew up with Hollywood movies. Okay, so each time something happens, and you will see that the character suddenly says Jesus or something of the sort, right? So sometimes you do slip into that and you say Jesus. Well, I don't do that, right? I mean, I'll be frank here, I don't do that, but I can understand why a Western Muslim would do that. Okay, because it's just the culture. It's just he didn't mean to say that Jesus is God or is trying to appeal to God. It's just a manner of speech. I don't know why you're making a big deal of it, Nuriyah. Okay, so it's the same as how Christian Arabs will say, "Oh yeah, oh," okay, or they will say, okay, in Arabic, right? Because they live in the Arab culture where a majority Muslims of Arabs are Muslims. Okay, so I know for a fact Christian Arabs who actually resort to Islamic phrases whenever they are shocked or excited, even though they themselves are not Muslims. Okay, I mean, I don't know what's the big deal with it, right? So, um, like the brother said, why do I need to whip a camel with a miswak? Exactly, yeah, exactly, right, all right. My God, yeah, I don't know whether she's serious or not, but I think she's just trying to impress her host because she knows that her host is ignorant about Islam and Islamic culture and Muslim culture. Sorry, so she's just pandering to him, and he's just being the ignorant buffoon that he just listens to whatever she says, right? Actually checking the facts. Okay.
Oh, you get tackled
Which is
by
like
everyone.
touche. Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. That's
yeah.
amazing.
Oh yeah, but sorry. So the point was, he was basically saying that for Islam and Muslims, Jesus is like the vice captain of Islam, because we do consider him a messiah. So
vice captain of Islam. I've never heard of any Muslim saying Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Have you guys ever heard or have ever been taught that Jesus is the vice captain of Islam? Because I've never heard of this. I mean, do me, okay? If maybe I'm being ignorant here or something, or maybe there's something I don't know before. I mean, vice captain of what? do you think that Islam of a football club where there's a need to have a captain and a vice captain and defenders and strikers and midfielders and wingers and wing backs? Yeah, sorry, it's just a football joke. I mean, what I mean, I don't understand what is that even supposed to mean? Yeah, exactly. Vice captain, vice captain. Yeah, exactly, brother. I don't get it. Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. I think that does she think that Islam is some sort of football club? So who's the captain then? who's then? I want to know who's the captain of Islam. Before we talk about Jesus being the vice captain of Islam, I would really love to know who the captain of Islam is.
There's already like a bit of
she's so
a catch-22
stupid, man.
because yes, the scriptures have
She's
been
such a
corrupted as
she's
per
such
Allah,
an
but
ahead.
also Jesus is one of your top prophets. So, and
Yeah.
also then you completely disagree with what actual followers of Jesus believe
Vice
how he died
captain.
versus what the Quran says happened to him. So that's
Oh,
another
that's
point
a
of
new
contention.
thing I did.
Yeah,
Jesus is the
I've
vice
noticed that. I've had a
captain
few
of
conversations
Islam.
and watched a few. I've noticed that what they do online in these TikTok like apologetics, Muslim apologetics things, is they get people to must be there probably is a creator. That's the first. As soon as they've got them on that point that there has to be a creator, then they move them to like all these like arbitrary points that they think point to Islam, which they do if you take all their idea, like you just believe everything they're saying. But like this one guy just wouldn't. I was like, no, I have no idea if there's a creator or not. And then he's like, well, you have to. He's like, where do we come from? I was like, we came from probably the same.
Yeah, I guess he's an agnostic then because he doesn't know
place you believe your God came from.
You're agnostic.
He's like, well, no, God just always was. I'm like, so why can't we say that about the universe? Like, I have no idea what happened before the Big Bang. I don't even know before the Big Bang is a sensible state.
You're
Like, I don't know what. So give me some. I need some ammunition. Give me some hard hitting besides Quran 434. What are some other hard hitting? Because the only thing I could think of was the moon splitting in two.
Yeah.
Why are they still talking about 430? Resolve that like minutes ago. Why are they still talking about this in the 59-minute? I don't get it.
Okay. Like,
oh yeah, David, don't you know, David? Everyone was asleep at that time. Okay, they couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Everyone was fast asleep. I think Ali Dawah, somebody said that. But yeah, let's fill up your armor. What can we give you? Okay, I'll think of.
Because they'll all say there are no scientific inaccuracies in the Quran. And I'll say, well,
are you kidding me?
That's
the
what they all say.
Quran
They say
says that like sperm comes from between the backbones and the ribs.
Oh,
that's not
okay.
true.
That's another nonsense. The Quran doesn't say that sperm come from the ribs. Okay, it says that fluid came from the between the ribs. Okay, so this I wouldn't get into it too much. It's just that I'll just say that this is something which Islamophobes love to point out. Okay, but it's taken out of context. Okay, it's taken out of context. So I'm going to continue laughing at the vice captain thing. I'm going to share the comments. Yeah, I know. I'm laughing at it too. I've never heard of the vice captain of Islam. I've heard of the captain of Islam. I mean, can anyone answer this question? Who is the captain of Islam? Who's the captain of Islam? Who's the captain of Islam? The vice captain of feminism. I mean, I'm so ignorant that I didn't know that Jesus was the vice captain. That I also did. Until now, until right at this point of time, I myself don't even know who is the captain of Islam. Okay, I mean, if there's a vice captain, obviously, right? So who's the captain of Islam? I mean, can Nuriyah answer this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
embryology is all over the place in the Quran, so you
Okay.
can definitely deep dive into that. And then again,
Yeah.
the creationist argument as well. I think the
But
Quran says that water, like God's throne is basically on top of the seventh heaven. He's got a throne sitting on water, and there's a whale holding
Yeah,
the
she's just
curvature of
repeating.
not the
Okay,
curvature.
this is a false hadith. Okay, she's talking about the hadith of the noon. Okay, where it says that God is on the throne is on the water, and then the whale is the noon is the fish. The whale is bearing the arash, the God. Okay, this is from the hadith. This is not from the Quran, and this hadith to be false. Okay, faulty. Okay, so this is not a sahih hadith. Okay, not at all. Okay, so yes, Nuriyah is got pants down. Not that I want to get into her pants. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but she's lying here. Okay.
Economy answers with apes and
Yes.
stuff, and then I'm like, well, no, they believe that that's all a conspiracy, and they're like, what do you mean? It's like, well, they believe that we have all this lineage back to 6,000 years, and they're like, well, isn't there
Yeah,
civilizations older than that? Yeah, but they'll
I
believe
have
that
a
they
feeling she's going to repeat all the lies that Apostle has been repeating on his channel. So let's see.
weren't really, and it's like, and then they're like, oh, how do they, what about the fossil record? Oh, they believe that happened from Noah's flood. What's Noah's flood? All these animals, every animal in the world, and bug and insect, and everything got on one big boat and floated around for a year, and then
If these are Australians, come on, you would at least penguins and stuff like. Look at Australia. Oh my god.
yeah.
Oh my
We
goodness.
know what Australia. Sorry.
For sure, there's
That's
Sorry,
why it has to be a
brother
slave master
Sydney.
relationship. Right, sorry to cut you off, but that's
No,
the
no, go,
dynamic.
go.
It's always a slave master relationship at play. There's this completely subservient mentality that you've got to internalize to do that. Like in Islam, we take it to the nth degree where we're like, we bow before, not we, sorry, I want to completely distance myself from those people. They say things like, we bow to nobody, we bow our heads before nobody but the Almighty.
Yeah, what's
but, like,
wrong with
you're
that?
still a slave to something, mate. Like you're literally a slave. Like the whole thing of like being a bit like
What's
Islam.
wrong? What's wrong with bowing in total submission to the Almighty? What's wrong with that? I mean, these two godless people might not see the importance of that, but I would say that bowing to the important for me, okay, because we are his servants, so we shouldn't go against our master, right? The master who created us all. If you two godless people don't believe in God, that's your problem, isn't it? Not our problem. Okay, an Islamic problem when you two godless idiots don't the one true God that created us all, and you yourself, David, that you don't even know how the universe created, and I think you purposely do not want to know because you are afraid of going down that path where you have to admit that there has to be a creator that created us all. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go and watch.
It literally means
Continue
like
this
to be
stupid
complete
video.
subservience.
submission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
submission, exactly.
Christians will say that Christianity is the only religion that God came down to us and loved us, like
In
God,
flesh,
Jesus.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, that's not Islam. That is Christian theology. Sorry, we don't believe in a half-naked man coming to earth and dying at the cross for our sins. Okay, so that's Christian. Don't confuse us Muslims with Christians. Okay,
It's going to be. I literally thought this is a manifest, beautiful, perfect religion that men in positions of power are just on a power trip, and they're misogynistic, and that's them, and all those arguments you can buy into this, like culture, religion, blah blah blah. I would have taken all of those covers to protect, not face the truth. But when it was actually staring me in the eye, I'm like, no, this God sounds like one of those police officers. It really could interchange.
yeah, I think she's talking about her experience before. Okay, okay, I think
A huge audience, and like he did it without even stuttering. It like brain. It's like, it was a horrible word to say, but it's like just to light the seriousness protests. Like, no, this is a really big problem. Like,
Okay, I
he
think I'm going
tapped
to
out.
have to end the his podcast here, not the stream. Sorry, end the video here. Okay, I think I've heard any. So yep, that's pretty much it. That's my reaction to that CD podcast involving the bitch, the Murtada, Nuriyah Khan, and her simping, bumbling, okay, who clearly does not even know the subject matter. Is he even hosting this podcast when he clearly doesn't have any knowledge about Islam, has zero understanding about Islam, and he's just simping to her and asking her to explain certain aspects of Islam, which she, of course, in her ignorance, she still tries to giving CD claims and making funny weird comments like Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Okay, Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Wow, and who's the captain? I didn't even know that Islam is a man. Okay, if Islam is a football club, be the striker. I want to be the okay. Brother Sydney football wing back or the winger. Okay, I want to be the striker for Islam. Okay, I want or number or be the false nine. Okay. So yeah, if Islam is a football club, then I want to be the false nine or the number 10. I want to wear the back for Islam FC. And yeah, I want to be the captain. Okay, I want to be the captain. I don't care who's going to be the vice captain, but I want to be the captain of Islam FC. Okay. Oh my God, vice captain. Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Who had the captains? Yeah, exactly. I really want to know that. So, okay, Daif. Yes, that's the hadith of the throne of Allah on the back of the whale. Okay, it's a totally false hadith. Okay, God is by definition worthy of worship. Yep, exactly, because he's our creator. Yep, exactly. There's no one true God worthy of worship except for the one true God. Okay, the God of Abraham. Right? She made me laugh so hard. Yeah, exactly. I mean, almonds too. When she said that this can be turned into a whip and you use this to hit a camel or a horse. Would this even work against a camel, man? I mean, if I hit this against a camel, would the camel even listen to me? Because it's such a small little twig here. I don't think the camel will even care because it has such thick skin, such thick fur that even if I were to hit it with my miswak as hard as I can, it's most likely that my miswak would break. Okay, and I definitely can't turn this into a whip. Okay, it just doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, she's being silly and idiotic at the same time, right? Um, who's this David McDonough? Is this a non-psycho version? I don't. He's the person who runs the channel. Deep Drinks, I think. I was subscribed to him. I'm subscribed to him at the moment. So he has this interesting channel where interviews people who talk about Christianity mostly. But there's this particular episode where he invited the bitch to talk about Islam. Okay, yeah. So it just so happened that I stumbled across it. I think the podcast interview happened like 2 weeks ago. In fact, there's one that's going to happen tomorrow, I think, involving her again on that particular channel. So I'm going to see what nonsense that she's going to peddle this time, and I may do another reaction video to it at the time. Otherwise, I'll probably not bother because this is one off thing. Okay. By the way, I really hope that she watches this. Okay, watches that she watched this roasting of her, because I still turn of Islam, because you said that because Nuriyah, you said that in your podcast with David that Jesus is the vice captain. So who's the captain? Who's the captain of Islam FC? Yeah. Okay, so brother Sydney football. Islamic calling will be the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper. Oh my god. Okay. Sydney football TV again. She's Islamophobic and miswak-phobic. Yep. I couldn't agree more. She's afraid of the tiny little miswak. Oh, Nuriyah, do you want me to hit you with this miswak? Oh my, it's really lying through her teeth, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. I mean, I'm speechless because of the stupidity that she has displayed throughout this podcast that she had with the guy with the guy who calls himself David, right? Egitos, brother Egitos. Wouldn't surprise me if Nuriyah is a Hindu Muslim, according to definitely, definitely. I think I don't know what she believes now, but she does claim that to be an agnostic atheist. But yeah, I mean, how is atheism more plausible than Islam? You know, because you see, in Islam we do believe that no, the universe has a beginning, whereas in atheism they don't even know how they can understand how the universe comes into existence. Okay, so 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 yeah, she's just an ignorant little bitch, right? And trying to sensationalize the idea that this can be used as a whip. I've never heard of a miswak being used as a whip. Okay, so it's quite unfortunate for her to say these things in front, and you know, and for me to encounter it. I have the miswak right here. Okay, I have the miswak right here. This miswak in my debate against Apusi. Apusi is also another moron who's also afraid of the miswak. When I showed this in front of the camera, he was stunned and he couldn't reply to, you know, to my response to him with regards to this, because he also Surah An-Nisa verse 34 as well. So I told him this is the stick that you use to beat your wife with. Are you afraid of this little stick? So he couldn't answer that. Okay, he was just saying yada yada yada, and then he was just trying to brush off the issue. But the point is, this is the stick that you use to beat your wife with. Okay, in with regards to verse 34. Okay, why are you afraid of this little stick? This can be turned into a whip. Okay, and and for the first time in my life, I've heard uh this coming from her, that Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Oh wow, vice captain. Okay, so Jesus is just playing second fiddle to the captain, right? So who's the captain? Okay, that's really stupid, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say, man. I bet atheism begins somewhere in World War II or maybe even before for political reasons. I think atheism actually began way earlier because of the reaction towards the Christian church. Okay, because the Christian church, the Catholic church especially, this was before the Protestant Reformation. Okay, so the Catholic church, if you read the history, you will find that, you know, the church the church authorities were very violent towards those who opposed the church. So there were those who rebelled against the church authority and they left Christianity. So because they don't know of Islam, unfortunately, so they decided to just reject God altogether, because for them Christianity is the truth, and therefore if Christianity is not true anymore, therefore more. So there's no alternative to that. Okay, unfortunately, you know, in medieval Europe, Islam has not reached to these regions, right? So yeah, maybe, perhaps, who knows, maybe if had Islam reached them way earlier, then perhaps they would have become Muslims, right? But I guess we will never know. Okay, but instead they became atheists and they rebelled against the church authorities. Okay, miswak can be used as a concealed weapon, stab to the eye. Oh wow, miswa, the super weapon. You know this lightsaber miswa. Okay, yeah. My secret weapon, the lightsaber miswa. Wow. I don't know why she's so afraid of the miswa, man. Yeah, this is the humor today. Yep. Yeah, I think brother Sydney Football, you have pretty much summarized what she has to say. Yeah. Miswak is a dangerous weapon. Jesus is the vice captain of Islam, although we are not told who the captain is. And she left Islam because she wanted, and she didn't know how to do so. Okay, and she didn't know how to do so. She wanted to divorce her husband because husband was didn't know the process, and she kept saying that is the hula. I don't know what's a hula. I know that there's a hula, but there's no Hawaiians dance. You know the hula, but there's no hula process in Islam. Okay, what man? She's truly a um. I think that's hacking. Okay, my internet is stabilized now. Okay, feminists when France and Denmark ban the niqab, pretend to be dead. Don't talk about it. Yep, exactly. I read Genesis in the Bible. I already had a headache. Yep, me too. Revenge of the Miswak. I guess you can call it Revenge of the Miswak. Revenge of the Miswak. Ooh, Miswak is such a dangerous weapon that you can use it to whip horses and camels. With this, man. With this Miswak, I shall conquer the world and become the captain for Islam. I'm going to be the captain of Islam with this powerful miswak, man. Oh my God! Whoever, I shall be the most powerful person in the world with the power of my miswak. Power of miswak. Oh my! I am the power. Yeah, that's a He-Man reference. Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Let's be serious. What else for cannibal? I don't know. I don't understand why they are so obsessed with the miswak. Okay, why are you so obsessed with this little stick? Okay. Oh my God. Okay, yeah. Come to think of it, you can actually use this as a wand, right? Yeah. Expelliarmus. Expelliarmus. What else? Avada Kedavra. Yeah, that's the most dangerous spell in the Harry Potter world, right? Avada Kedavra. I'll turn you into a chicken. Poop. There you go. Okay, so that's how dangerous the miswak is, right? Ex-Muslims, miswak. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm dying of laughter here, mashallah. Okay, brothers, I think I better stop here before I die of laughter after reading your comments. Please, brothers, please stop the torture. Stop the torture. All right. So okay, so anyway, so I guess we can conclude that she's an idiot who talks about the vice captain of Islam, Jesus, and she's afraid of the miswak, and she doesn't even know how to divorce your husband according to Islam. Okay, so that's pretty much and also yes, some things that she said about Islamic practices which are part of the Sunnah, but she doesn't seem to know the difference between what is Sunnah and what is cultural. You see, so that's another boo hoo to you, Nuriyah. I mean, anyway, I still want to know who's the captain for Islam, though. So anyway, before I go, cue in intermission. Right. So yes, thank you very much for watching my live stream. I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as I did. It's such a joke to see people like this claiming to be Islam, okay, claiming to be authorities in Islam, but they are just afraid of the miswak. And I still want to know who the captain of Islam is. Okay, but anyways, I'm going to go now. Okay, it's getting quite late for me, and I actually have work to do as well. So I hope that, inshallah, I hope that this is official for you as it has been for me. Well, not really for me, but it does open my third eye in realizing that these people, they are just truly clowns. Okay, and I don't think that I don't think they have an ounce of knowledge about Islam. Okay, they're just talking about Islam from their backside. Okay, basically, right? So okay, but anyway, before I go, your neighbors better be careful of ooh, my miswak, my dangerous miswak. Okay. All right. Thanks for the stream. Okay. Yep, you're welcome. Of course. All right. Okay. Good night to you. Right. Walaikum salam warahmatullah. Yeah, thank you, brother. All right. So yes, I'm going to have to end the stream, and thank you very much for those of you who have stayed all the way right until the end. I do appreciate your coming here. I'm sorry that I have to go now, right? But well, some good news in that I might do my regular live stream this weekend, inshallah, right? Same time in the morning at around no, I'm not sure, but I'll see. I'll see. But if not this week, then perhaps next week. Okay. Actually, come to think of it, I probably can't do it this week because my wife will be coming. Okay. To coming here from Johor. So I want to spend some time with my wife and my son. Okay. So my family basically. So I don't think I will have the time to actually do a live stream, a long live stream, which would take like 3 or 4 hours at least. So in any case, I have to go now because I have some things to do, and also I'm actually got my dinner. Okay, I'm gonna have to order dinner. Okay, a very very late dinner, but hey, we have Grab food, right? Right inside. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on to the stream. I hope that you have enjoyed the video, and of course, this video will remain in the public sphere because that's what it's supposed to be. And if you like this video, please do not forget to like this, give a thumbs up to this video. If you would like to share this video, please do share this to everyone that you know, especially to that bitch Nuriyah Khan. Okay, this is my message for you, Nuriyah. Okay, and I'm being very serious here. Whatever lie, whatever shit that you put out against Islam, I will come after you and I will expose you. Right. So please don't play with me because I know who you are. I know your lies and your allegations about Islam. Okay. I still want to know who's the captain of Islam though, because you mentioned that uh, that Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. uh, excuse me for that. Okay. I still don't understand what a stupid statement like that. How a stupid statement like that could come out of your mouth. But hey, I mean, apart from your British accent, which is a virtue, I don't see anything special about you, you little bitch. Right. So I'm coming for you, and I'm coming for you. Okay. I'm coming after your lies. Wherever you are, I shall appear and refute you. Okay, because I just ignorant little airhead who has no clue about what Islam is, and you are just using Islam to further your own agenda of trying to make more fame and trying to create fame and so that's you're a fraud, Nuriyah. You are a fraud. Okay, okay, Captain of Jesus. I cannot stop laughing because of that. Anyway, yes, okay. Sorry. I mean, I'm trying to be serious here, but I cannot help it but laugh whenever I think about her statement. Jesus is the vice captain of Islam. Okay, so anyway, thank you very much. Inshallah to see you again in a future live stream. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.